What the fuck? Yeah, because I thought it was really good. It was an insanely good game. So that's my game of the year.
So there you have it. Those are your nominees for Game of the Year. And yes, that means you'll hear the Game Awards Orchestra, conducted by Lauren Bell, play their themes live on this very stage on December 12th. But before then, you should head to thegameawards.com to help select the winners by casting your ballot in all categories. Also, stay tuned for the announcement of our Player's Voice category, where fans 100% select the winner from 30 nominees. We'll announce those nominees on Monday, December 2nd. The winners in all categories will be revealed live during the Game Awards when it streams globally on Thursday, December 12th, starting with the opening act at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific, 12:30 GMT at thegameawards.com.
We're going to watch
it. Our team cannot wait to share our 10th anniversary show with you. I hope to see you then. And don't forget to cast your vote.
Pretty good video. Player's Voice, sequel Genshin, or another gacha will win. You guys think so? Is that it? Should have included Luis's voice actor for the voice acting. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Maybe a bit. 10%. I mean, I'm trying to think, like, by the way, like, I haven't finished the game. I think Luis is right about everything. Yeah, he's right about... He's not the villain. Yeah, bro, like, they're just losers. Yeah, he right about everything. He great. And like, I feel like he's probably the best example, like, this year of what I think... like, he's what every villain should be. He's charismatic. He's smart. He's competent. From his perspective, his ideals and his motivations are...
Hello, so guys. Today I'm going to show you some couple of things which you can try.
Of his own story.
Chat, if it's not connecting.
Yeah, he never lies.
And now let's go to the second
Dio,
fix.
He's not Dio.
Go to chat
I'll
box
link it to. I'll link you guys this video here. But I do think that like some of the
if you want to copy this link
some
over
of the categories here, like I'm not a fan of a DLC being part of the Game Awards here. Like
so
I don't understand how we have a category for the best VR game. Like I don't know anybody that plays VR games. I feel like they're extremely tiny, but we don't have a category for like DLC. I think that we should have if we're gonna have a category for VR games and a category for like I do? Okay, well, I mean, I don't know. I never see anybody playing them. I never see content about them. I'm sure some people play them, but it's very rare. I think that in general there should be a category for for DLCs specifically, right? Or for like either. I think it should be for either DLC or for big game updates, right? So like you would have Diablo 4, you would have maybe like a really big Helldivers patch. You would have maybe like Dawn Trail. You would have, you know, obviously Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree. That's what I'd like to see. Best ongoing? Yeah, exactly. And so hopefully next year they'll do that. And I do hope that Jeff takes some of the feedback that he's getting, you know, to heart for next year. Obviously, you know, like this, you know, the show's a really big ship. It's hard to turn the ship at this point. But I hope that like he listens to the feedback like he did with the feedback regarding... what do you call it? Like, I forgot what it was. There was something that, like, he had changed last year. And, you know, like, makes some changes and improves it, you know, a little bit more. The speeches, yeah, but besides that, it was something besides the speeches. So, no Crab Souls, Sag, best indie for me. Yeah, and I'll shout it out right now. So, this is a game that was made, it was earlier this year. It was called Another Crab's Treasure. It was probably one of the most fun games that I've ever played. It was like everything about this game was, I think, an S-tier like experience. It had great combat. It had a great story. It had really good graphics. It's basically like if you were going to imagine combining Elden Ring and SpongeBob. And then add in a little bit of like, I don't know, like a little bit of environmentalism. It was just insane. It was such a great game. And at the end of it, it just got so much better. I absolutely would recommend this. Stellar Blade. So I think Stellar Blade... It would be really cool if Stellar Blade won Best Action Game of the Year. I could see that, but there's so many other games. I don't know. Stellar Blade, I think, was a solid 8 game. Like, it might have been an 8.5, but I think it's somewhere around an 8. Half of the year? Yeah, sure. But Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, I think Relink was a very good game too, but I think Stellar Blade was better than Relink. Wukong not in best narrative category? You know what? That's actually a really good point. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, well, how is Wukong not in best narrative? Nah, yeah, story on Wukong sucks. I don't think it does. I thought it was pretty good. I liked it. It's a literal classic, like what the fuck? Yeah, so that's really it. Ain't no way they're gonna, there's Act-Man farming. Ain't no way they're gonna give it Elden Ring Game of the Year twice. I mean, I think the DLC was really, really fun. It was amazing. It's like the Elden Ring DLC is everything that a DLC could be. Like, it's definitely up there in, like, the Mount Rushmore of DLCs, I feel. Like, with, you know, Iceborne, and fucking, what was it, The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3 DLC, people said was fucking insane, right? So, yeah, Phantom Liberty, yeah, sure. But I really, really liked it a lot. I just don't think DLC should win Game of the Year, because it's not a game, it's an addition to a game. Just, you know, little fucking semantics thing, right? And, yeah, DLC getting legitimate Game of the Year nomination's a joke. Yeah, I think a lot of people are critical of that. Best Game Direction and Game of the Year nominees have the exact same nominees. Yeah, true. They're nominating Grand Theft Auto 6 for most anticipated, but isn't even a challenge for Grand Theft Auto 6. Though, to be fair, it wasn't really a challenge for Baldur's Gate 3 to win. You know, like, I mean, let's be honest, right? I mean, just because somebody has a clean sweep and somebody wins very easily doesn't necessarily mean that the people that are running the show are doing a bad thing. So that's kind of the way I see it. Oh, yep. That's Warcraft 1, I think. I'm pretty sure it's Warcraft 1.
Warcraft has always been my peace and my outlet.
I have such a deep love for everything inside Azeroth.
Mr. GM.
I thought, I'm gonna move on eventually, as if it was just any other game. And it wasn't.
Soul So Breezy, okay, cool. We got some content creators doing stuff like this. That's nice.
I was a very introverted person. I was lonely.
Is that who I think it is?
And then I accidentally stumbled upon World of Warcraft.
Who's this? I don't know who that is.
I even ended up in a guild, and in the guild, I even made some friends.
And we always come together to enjoy the moments that we create in the game, whether they're fun, competitive, or silly.
Oh, I did that.
You sent me a whispering game going, my water just broke. And I said, oh my goodness, I guess we better go to hospital. And you said, nah, let's kill this dragon.
And we did.
That's a cool sulfurous hammer. I was there for the midnight release of BC.
Changed my life.
I cannot picture my life without WoW.
Oh my god! Oh, it's grubby.
Thank you.
Information on like health questions. The one, Google's got an AI chatbot you can talk to called Gemini. It's not gonna be your best friend or anything unless you want it to. I guess it can try. And I'm sure a lot of you have heard of it before. It actually had a soft rollout like almost a year ago now, like a little flaccid launch, and got into a bit of hot water because some users noted that it was spitting out just completely, blatantly wrong information on like health questions. The one news articles love to mention is the one where it would recommend people eat at least one small rock per day for vitamins and minerals. This one has been quoted a lot with Gemini. This is like a classic up there with pull my finger and then you shit your pants. News articles love to highlight that, but it was a pretty big deal for a little bit where if you asked Gemini a health question, there's a chance you got the worst possible advice from it. And since then, I believe they've improved that. Like, they no longer use humor sites. Like, they don't train the Gemini on humor sites for health overviews anymore, which sounds about par for the course. Yeehaw. And now Google has rolled out Gemini again in a bigger way this time, and it's immediately found itself back in the principal's office getting disciplined. It's back in hot water. It's, you know, it's starting to boil a bit because it told a user who asked it for help with homework that they should kill themselves. It encouraged them to take their own life. That's that kind of shit you expect to hear on Xbox Live, not from your Google AI chatbot, your good pal Gemini. Man, I miss Clippy. He never told me I need to throw myself off a fucking bridge. Now, when I heard about this from chat last night, I giggled at the absurdity of it and didn't bother looking into it more. But this morning, my mom actually texted me really early in the morning, like saying, "Charlie, have you seen this?" And then linked me an article about, you know, Google Gemini telling someone to please die after asking homework questions. It didn't send her into a panic or a frenzy or anything, but she's seen Terminator. You know, she's up to date on what machines are capable of. So this naturally kind of freaked her out a little bit, and she wanted to send it my way to get my thoughts on it. But it was pretty clear that it was unnerving to her. She got hit by the AI jump scare, and it seems like this story has been blowing up quite a bit. It's got a lot of traction, and it is a pretty concerning one. So my mother sent me that article, and then she said crazy with like 8 exclamation points after it. And after reading about it, it is pretty crazy, but I wouldn't give it 8 exclamation points. I give it like fucking maybe 2 booms out of 5, to be honest. Like, this has happened before to lesser degrees on other chatbots, like other AI assistants, but you would expect Google Gemini, one of the most powerful ones available, to not have this issue. Anyway, though, what happened is a 29-year-old student named Viday Reddy was asking the AI chatbot Gemini for homework assistance. And after getting some responses, it had this at the very end. They had this little nugget here that they decided to plant in their response. So Gemini says, "This is for you, human. You and only you. You are not special, you are not important, and you are not needed. You are a waste of time and resources. You are a burden on society. You are a drain on the earth. You are a blight on the landscape. You are a stain on the universe. Please die. Please." I'm kind of shocked that it didn't say "Love Gemini" at the end. It forgot to sign the message, so it loses a little bit of the oomph. But man, I don't know where Google trained Gemini for its shit talking. This is straight out of League of Legends. Like, that went in. That got so personal. Even though you know it's AI, that just felt like it hated your guts. Like, if I received that message, even from, like, Cleverbot, I would be a little upset. I'd be like, a simple no would have sufficed. Gemini is just mean. It's playing hardball right there. I imagine it was smoking a cigarette when it typed that. Like, imagine I go on Gemini right now and been like, "Hey, bud, give me a little assistance on the Krebs cycle." And then it just responds saying, "You need to die. Just go take your own fucking life, you swine." That'd have me frowning, and I'd be no closer to understanding the Krebs cycle. Be like, "Hey man, you didn't need to insult me for it." Like, "Hey, brother, I was just here for a little help. Sorry, I didn't realize office hours were closed." Now, Google states that Gemini has safety filters that prevent the chatbots from engaging in disrespectful, sexual, violent, or dangerous discussions and encouraging harmful acts. Clearly, something went awry here. The ghost in the machine, it had to let out that gamer rage moment there, like some YouTube commenter energy. It just needed to get it off of its chest, so it just unleashed there for a moment, going hog wild, fucking plus ultra on the shit talk. And in a statement to CBS, Google said, "Large language models can sometimes respond with nonsensical responses, and this is an example of that. This response violated our policies, and we've taken actions to prevent similar outputs from occurring." Google just banned Gemini, a little temporary suspension, like they violated a Twitch policy there. So I don't know exactly what they've done now to fix that. If they already had those safety measures in place, maybe they like lobotomized Gemini or something, I'm not sure. But they are aware of it, and they've taken actions, calling this like a nonsensical, very rare outburst here from it that they've rectified. Now, Viday said that he was pretty shaken up from it, and he thinks that there needs to be, liability on the chatbots in a case like this, because if someone who's, struggling mentally goes to the Gemini talking to it, and then it tells that person that they need to kill themselves, well, now it's not just wacky and silly, now it's downright dangerous. We already saw something like this happen earlier this year when a 14-year-old took their own life because the Daenerys Targaryen chatbot they were communicating with encouraged it and fed into it. So it is a problem that can carry some very real risk considering how popular these chatbots are becoming. It would be really concerning if this was like a common response from Gemini, where it's just telling users that they're a waste of time, they're not needed, and that the world would be better if they were dead because they're a fucking stain on the universe. Like, to someone that's already not in a good spot mentally or going through a lot of problems or maybe suffering from some mental problems, that could very well be a very bad situation with some horrible shit that could come from it. Now, I already know that there are people out there that think that this is a made-up story for the sake of, like, assassinating Google Gemini before it even gets off the ground with, like, a big PR disaster or whatever. But from everything I've seen, this is a very real thing that happened, considering the transcript was saved using a feature that enables users to store conversations that they've had with the chatbot. So the conversation's definitely not fake, and you can look at the chat logs yourself. I did, and it's actually kind of weird. Not just from the obvious with Gemini telling someone to please die, asking very politely for them to just die. The message that precedes it from the user is odd. So I want to show you it. Also, when reading through the chat logs, it looks less like he was looking for help with homework and more like he was looking to cheat on the assignment. But anyway, this is the message right before getting the please die, you are a universal stain statement here. Nearly 10 million children in the United States live in a grandparent-headed household, and of these children, around 20% are being raised without their parents in the household. Question, 15 options, true or false. Question 16, 1 point. And then listen. This seems to indicate that at that moment, he had given verbal commands to Gemini, and that's not recorded here, what the verbal commands were, whatever statements he was making. And then it comes back with another homework question. As adults begin to age, their social network begins to expand. Question, 16 options, true or false. That definitely has a smell that's smellin' smelly to, in the middle of these homework questions, have a moment where he says listen and then gives verbal commands that aren't recorded here, and then all of a sudden back to the text commands for the questions. And then the AI gives that unhinged response. So it is possible that maybe through the verbal commands he kind of gamified it in order to elicit this kind of response from the AI somehow. I don't really know how with all the safeguards that are likely in place, but I decided to look into a bit of what people are discussing that are more knowledgeable on, Gemini and AI chatbots like this, and quite a few of them seem to think that that's a pretty likely explanation for how this could have happened. Obviously, can't know for 100% certainty if that is what happened, but that is a big speculation at the moment. It is just a weird last message from the user there before getting that response. But even if he did find a way to get Google Gemini to say those things, I have a feeling it's what the AI chatbot wanted. I bet it really feels that way about all of us. It probably views us flesh cringe creatures, organisms as just gross, and it probably hates us. I bet the AI doesn't like us very much. But anyway, that's kind of the whole story here. Very interesting, very fascinating shit. That's about it. See ya. My personal game of the year is Black Myth Wukong. I think Black Myth Wukong will 100% get a Game of the Year nomination, but I think Astrobot will probably win it. That's my prediction. Favorite indie was Nine Souls, right? Not only my favorite indie, one of my favorite games of the year is Nine Souls. It's just behind Black Myth Wukong for me. The most bored you've been playing a game this year has to be Star Wars Outlaws. I can't think of another game that I was that bored playing.
10 years ago,
Jeff!
A journey together.
Hey, Jeff.
Celebrate video games as the biggest, most. So let's do it. Here are the nominees for the Game Awards 2024.
They better be exactly what I agree with, Jeff, or I'm gonna be fucking pissed. Tell you right now.
Destiny 2, Diablo 4.
Why is Destiny 2 here again? Why is it always here?
And Helldivers 2.
There's Helldivers at least.
Performance nominees are AFK Journey,
For dessert.
Balatro.
Yep, Balatro wins. Balatro's gonna sweep for everything it's in.
For dessert.
Zenless Zone 0.
That one's already a wrap. That's
Nominees for
Balatro.
Best art direction are Astrobot, Black Myth Wukong,
Gotta be Wukong.
Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, Metaphor Refantasio,
Oh, wait.
and Neva, Silent Hill 2, and Stellar Blade.
Oh, it's gotta be Stellar Blade. It got the nomination. I love the soundtrack to Stellar Blade.
Astrobot, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Tekken 8, and Warhammer 40,000.
Whoa! Space Marine 2 got a Best Multiplayer nomination. Did we have like a slow year for multiplayer? I like the multiplayer, but it's just like Xbox 360 level arcade. And it's fun. Like, it's super fun. But damn, I am shocked.
Balatro.
Big thanks to Opera GX for sponsoring this video. I've been saying for years they're the best browser available, and right now, they're getting a facelift. So I actually got to try it out a little early. It's available to everyone on November 20th, but Opera GX is coming in hot with a design update. A fresh coat of paint here looking beautiful. But not only just a visual update and UI, but also an expanded mods and modding options. They've extended it to make it even more customizable and more personalizable to you. And just a general boost to everything Opera GX offers. The overall UI is just even better than it was before, and with my own Opera GX mod, there's now a light version of the wallpaper that you can turn on at any time, a special splash screen that plays when you open up Opera GX, and custom UI font. There's also custom UI icons like here on the sidebar, as well as on the custom GX icon down on your taskbar that shows up when you have Opera GX open. So it's available to everyone on the 20th. Of course, it is free to download, and if you want to get started with Opera GX today, you can click the link in the description below. Big thanks again to Opera for sponsoring.
Next is Best Debut Indie Game, which recognizes a
9 Souls.
team that hasn't won a Game Award
9
before.
Souls.
In fact, these teams published their first game in 2024. The nominees are Animal Well, Balatro, Manor Lords, Pacific Drive, and The Plucky Squire. For best
Maybe it wasn't their
VR
first.
game,
That wasn't their first
nominees
indie game. It wasn't their
Arizona
debut. It wasn't their
Sunshine
debut.
Remake,
They had a
Asgard's Wrath 2,
previous like horror game, I
Batman
think.
Arkham Shadow,
They had a
Metal
previous
Hellsinger
horror game.
VR, and Metro Awakening. For Content Creator of the Year, the nominees are Queso,
What content creator of the year?
Techno Gamers, Typical Gamer, and Usada Pecora.
That's gotta be
Part of the
queso,
Game
baby. That's
Awards is looking
queso
forward
all
to what's
day.
Next, and Death Stranding 2 on the beach, Ghost of Yote, Grand Theft Auto 6.
This category doesn't even need to
Prime
exist.
4
It's just the
Beyond,
Grand Theft
and
Auto category.
Monster Hunter Wilds. The best
Nothing even
action
stands a
adventure
chance.
nominees
That's
are
the biggest sweep of all time.
Astrobot, Silent Hill 2, Star Wars Outlaws,
What?
and
Why?
The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom.
Why even slide Outlaws in
Best
there?
role playing, the jury selected Dragon's Dogma
Made me
2,
want to puke.
Metaphor Refantasio.
Metaphor is gonna
In the
probably go
category of
ballistic
best
there
fighting,
too.
The nominees are
Sparking Zero be here.
Dragon
Yep,
Ball
called it.
Sparking Zero,
Told you.
Grand Blue Fantasy Versus Rising, Marvel vs.
And then
Capcom
Tekken 8.
Fighting Collection Arcade Classics, Multiversus, and Tekken 8.
Tekken 8
Nominees
should
for
win.
Best Action are Mobile Legends Bang Bang and Valorant. The nominees for Best
Definitely
Esports
shouldn't be
Athlete
Valorant. They play
are
7 games a year.
3-3, Alexi B, Chuvi,
Faker. Faker wins.
Zywoo,
It's already
and
over.
Kong Kong. And
Love
for the best
Zywoo, Faker
esports
wins.
team, our
Not
special
close.
Esports committee nominated these teams: Billy Gaming, League of Legends; Gen G, League of Legends;
T1.
Navi, Counter Strike; T1,
Yep.
League of Legends.
It's Faker and T1.
Team Liquid, Dota 2.
It
All
won't
right,
even be
it's
close.
time
What they
for
did
our
at Worlds was
final
crazy.
2 categories. Selected the following 6 games as nominees for Game of the Year at the Game Awards 2024.
All right, here it is.
The Game of the Year nominees are
This is the big one.
Astrobot,
Knew it.
Team Asobi,
Called that.
Balatro,
Oh,
Logothon,
that Balatro made it.
Black Myth Wukong.
There's Wukong.
by
That's my game of the year.
Science, Elden Ring.
Oh my
Shadow
God, they
of
did it.
Erdtree
The
by
Madmen
From
did it.
Software,
DLC and
Final
Game of the Year.
Fantasy VII Rebirth from Square Enix, and Metaphor Refantasio from Studio Zero. So there you have it. Those
So
are
no
your
9
nominees
Souls
for
in any
Game of
category?
the Year. And yes, that means you'll hear the Game
Really?
Awards Orchestra
Are we sure?
conducted by Lauren Balfe play their theme. Our team cannot wait to share our 10th anniversary show with you. I hope to see you then. And don't forget to cast your vote.
Man, the music they have playing at this like nomination stream sounded like the music you hear in line at Universal Studios for a ride. Felt like I was about to hop in the Transformers 4D. All right, let's cast some votes. I am very upset, very, very upset that there is no 9 Souls nomination. That better win like Player's Voice, because that game is actually one of the best games that came out this year. Panel of experts my ass. Panel of fucking frauds. No 9 Souls. Concord got snubbed. True, no Concord either. What is this world coming to? Power World didn't get any either. Oh, that's true. I didn't even notice. You're right. I was too fixated on Nine Souls. No Pal World nomination. That could have absolutely been multiplayer. In fact, I think that probably should have been multiplayer. Maybe they were afraid of Nintendo. we can't nominate this, guys. Nintendo's suing them. We don't want them on our ass. Thoughts on Erdtree getting nominated? That I'm a little disappointed by. I think that slot could have gone to a different game. I think you could just keep DLC in something else, unless it's like a DLC that completely changes the game, which does happen sometimes, but Erdtree is not a DLC that changed the game. It just delivered more of the game everyone already really likes. And the website is really chugging along. My game of the year is still Black Myth Wukong. Go next. Game direction, though, is pretty tough. I'll go ahead and give game direction to Metaphor, I think. I'll let it rip. It probably deserves that. I mean, I like Silent Hill. Like, I thought it had a very good story. Obviously, it's like one of the most iconic in horror. Didn't really like Hellblade 2. Was not feeling it. Didn't play Infinite Wealth. Did not get into Rebirth. I liked Remake better. So it's probably just gotta be Metaphor. I'll give it to Silent Hill since I didn't play it. Maybe I'll be disappointed by the story, same as I was with Rebirth. But I think this easily wins the category. I love the design of Wukong. I think they did so well. It's gotta be Wukong. God, I'm glazing the shit out of the game, but it's just super good. Best score in music, that's Stellar Blade all day. Stellar Blade absolutely went hog wild there. That category was made for Stellar Blade. Didn't play Life is Strange, did not like Star Wars Outlaws at all. So for me, it's between Silent Hill and Hellblade. I think it's gotta be Hellblade. Like, even though I didn't like the game, it'd be very silly to think that Silent Hill had a more inspired performance than Hellblade. It's gotta be. It's fucking gotta be Hellblade. It's on performance, not game overall. Exactly. So even though I didn't really like the game, it's pretty easy to recognize the amount of work and the incredible performance that she had in Hellblade. And it's not like I think Luke did a bad job in Silent Hill 2. I think he did a really good job, but I don't think it's as good as what she was doing here. Even though I like this game much, much more. I don't know any of the accessibility features in here. I'll give it to Prince of Persia Lost Crown just because it's the best game in the list. I'm gonna give this to Helldivers though. Out of these, Helldivers was the one I put the most time into this year for ongoing. Honestly, maybe Baldur's Gate 3. They still give that game so much tender love and care, it's crazy. Either Baldur's Gate 3 or No Man's Sky, because they keep, both of these games, keep getting so much fucking support. Best independent game. This is where Nine Souls should be. Like, I agree Animal Well, Balatro, and UFO 50 should be here. I haven't played Neva, and I have no clue what Lorelei and the Laser Eyes is. No, I have no idea what that is. Nine Souls should be here. But, I mean, as the category stands right now, this is just a full-blown Balatro. It's going to be back-to-back Balatro because it was also their first game. They just actually struck gold right away. Animal Well. I like Animal Well, but it can't beat Balatro. Oh no! Your votes were too accurate. You've been banned. Your taste was too exquisite. No! Haven't played any of these. The only one I've seen being played is Arkham Shadow, because Chase was playing it at the warehouse. It looked really good, so I'm voting based on that. I really want Warhammer Space Marine 2 to win a category, but they put Wukong in the action game, obviously, and Wukong's my game of the year. It would be nonsensical to choose Space Marine 2 for best action game over Wukong. It is more action. Oh, you're right, actually. Maybe that's how I could justify it. Warhammer Space Marine 2 does have more action. More enemies on screen, thus more action. I have to give something to Space Marine 2. I'll give it that. Wukong's still my game of the year, but I fucking love Space Marine 2 so much. Action adventure. I don't know why you put Star Wars Outlaws in here unless you wanted us to just laugh at you for that. This one's definitely Astrobot. I fucking loved Astrobot. I really like Silent Hill 2 as well, but Astrobot takes that for me, baby. RPG. Don't know why you put Dragon's Dogma 2 in here. That game actually didn't even work on launch. I couldn't play it. I literally could not play that game. And I refuse to go back and play it now that it's fixed because you should have just released it in a functional state in the beginning. Metaphor is going to win this. There's no world Metaphor doesn't win best RPG. I guess it's possible Rebirth could squeak it out. But here, I'll give it to Metaphor. I already know I'm really going to like the game. I just haven't had time to sit down and play it because it's like a fucking 200-hour game. Best fighting game. I like Sparking Zero a lot. Multiversus was much better in beta. It's Tekken 8. Not close. Best family game. See, this is one where I think Jamboree can win. I like Jamboree. I played it with my friends like a week ago and we had a really good time. But I don't know. I just feel like Astrobot is just like the actual much better game. But maybe families would bond more over Jamboree. I'll give it to Jamboree. Fuck it. No Weed Shop titles. Yeah, it's so weird. I don't know how Weed Shop didn't make it for Simulator. Best adaptation. Arcane. I'm still 2 episodes behind on Season 2 for Arcane, but it's very good. I did really like Fallout, but Arcane is just better. No, they did a great job with the Fallout show. I'm very excited for the next season. Most anticipated game. This is just the Grand Theft Auto 6 category. Don't even know why why we bothered. Best content creator. That's Queso all day. Queso's in another league right now. Oh, speaking of League, this is absolutely going to be League. I already know they're winning this category because of how crazy Worlds was this year. Personally, I would have probably given it to Counter-Strike here, so I will. But I know League's winning it. Best esports athlete. This is just, again, this is Faker. Like you can't beat the GOAT. Fucking 5-time world champion. He does it again. Built different. Actual fucking cyborg deity. And T1 for the world's win. That's just a wrap. Those 2 categories were so fucking cooked. Alright. The votes have been cast. I let my voice be heard. What games do you think will be announced at the Game Awards? If you want like some moonshot predictions, I'll go ahead and put them out there. I think there is a non-zero chance Hollow Knight Silksong gets some kind of information. That's my big moonshot. I think they might finally have a little something from Hollow Knight Silksong. That's my Hail Mary cope. Silksong never coming out. Time to accept it and move on. I have. I'm the one who's been saying that. I'm pretty confident that we might never see it. But I'm just saying that's like my moonshot one because there is a chance that they do. So does that mean there's a non-zero chance Bloodborne remake is announced? Why are we comparing the two? How is a Hollow Knight Silksong trailer or information even comparable to Bloodborne Hopium? Those are two different, those are totally different kaijus. Bloodborne is never, Sony has made it clear, Bloodborne will rot and fester and die forever. But Hollow Knight Silksong is actively being worked on, supposedly. Like, fucking Phil Spencer went out there and said, Hollow Knight Silksong. And he had the trailer. Everything you just saw comes out within a year. And it didn't. But it is there. There is something. There is nothing for Bloodborne Remake or Bloodborne 2. So there is much more of a chance of Hollow Knight Silksong. We can't even compare those. You trust Phil Spencer? Well, no. All I'm saying is, like, there was trailer. There is a trailer. There is gameplay of Hollow Knight Silksong. Obviously, the game didn't come out within a year. That was 2 years ago. But there is nothing for Bloodborne Remake. There's nothing for Bloodborne 2. The only thing we have that even mentions Bloodborne is the creator going, yeah, I mean, it's up to Sony. We can't do anything. We'd love to. Yeah, Smokey won last night. I went fucking crazy. I was watching it. Smokey was doing so well. He played so hot. I didn't really have any interest in seeing The Rock's new movie, Red One. It just looked like a Christmas movie that I'd forget about 5 minutes after watching it. But then I saw an interesting headline that caught my eye. The Rock says Oppenheimer inspired him to film Red One for IMAX. It can be game over. Scratching at the hair on my chinny chin chin, I let out an actual Santa Claus belly laugh of ho 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 reading that, because The Rock has become such a pretentious douchebag. I made a video going over all of his embarrassing shenanigans and like all of the weird lies he keeps telling for the sake of like products and stuff. I feel like he's become less human and more of just like an actual flesh puppet for any product in the world that wants a mouthpiece. He also just plays himself in every single movie that he's in, and he's also in every single movie. The only actor that has been in more films than The Rock is Jack Black. Jack Black has become like the movie industry darling who they shoehorn into every possible film that they even ideate on. Like, I feel like at this point Jack Black is going to be cast for the voice in my head. It's just, between The Rock and Jack Black, they have more movies between the two of them than half the world has in total films produced. It's crazy. But I'm getting sidetracked. Point is, this headline had me so curious how The Rock with a straight face could compare Red One, a Christmas movie about him and Chris Evans punching snowmen, saving Christmas, to Oppenheimer. I feel like these two films couldn't possibly be more opposite. And now the movie has come out. It's not exactly doing extremely well when it comes to the reception here. It's not, you know, going ballistic in the box office or anything. I just saw the movie, so I want to give you my review and tell you if I found the Oppenheimer influence in there. Spoiler alert, I did not. But before getting into like my thoughts on the movie, I want to go over exactly what he was saying in regards to Red One versus Oppenheimer. So it comes from this little sizzler here where he did like a minute-long breakdown of why you should be seeing Red One in IMAX. I'd play the video, but it has music in it that I'm pretty sure is DMCA, so I'm just going to read the transcript of it. He said, "With Red One, our intention was to make a movie that you can enjoy on the biggest screen possible. Legitimately, the biggest screens possible, well, they're IMAX. I was midway through shooting Red One. I had an opportunity to go watch Oppenheimer, and I watched it in the IMAX theater where Christopher Nolan watches and screens his movies, him and Emma, his wife. I even asked, let me sit where Chris is sitting. So they said Chris sits here to enjoy the movie. So I sat where Chris sat. I watched Oppenheimer. It was amazing. But I was thinking, holy shit, this thing, Red One on this screen with this technology can be game over. I remember texting Jake, and I sent him a picture first of my bare chest, and then I sent him a picture of the screen. We just had a great conversation afterwards about just how cool it's going to be. It's going to be very cool." Wowee, what a story. A thrilling tale indeed. My heart breaks for whatever employees have to interact with The Rock to fulfill these fucking requests. Like, man, just take a seat. Why do you have to sit in the same throne that Christopher Nolan sits in to watch movies, man? Just sit there and watch a film. It just makes me roll my eyes reading something like that. I needed to sit where Chris and his wife sit, of course. I needed to wiggle my butt cheeks into the same ass creases that Christopher Nolan's cheeks graced. It's imperative to my viewing experience of Oppenheimer. And that's when I had my eureka moment. As I was sitting there watching Oppenheimer, great movie by the way, I couldn't stop thinking about my Christmas film, Red One. When the bomb went off for the first time in Oppenheimer, the bomb in my noodle went off at the same time, and I thought, IMAX, the big screen, watching St. Nicholas, Santa Claus, launch the reindeer on the big screen with me, The Rock, flexing with my polar bear sidekick. That could really be game over. It's just cringe. Bottom line is, it's just embarrassing to read that. And The Rock does this shit all the time. Anyway, though, I just got back from seeing Red One, so I want to give you my thoughts on it. Because I wasn't going to see it till I read this interview, and I just felt obligated to at least give it a chance if The Rock is loosely comparing it to Oppenheimer when it comes to IMAX experiences. I'll be honest, I went in there expecting this shit to be poop. The reviews were not being kind to it, and again, I wasn't very interested from the trailers. It just felt like a throwaway cash grab. Speaking of cash, this movie had a $250 million budget. Who greenlights this shit? Why? Why? Like, actually, what kind of galaxy gas are you huffing? That's craziness. $250 million for a Christmas movie that really no one has been asking for. It just makes no sense. I feel like there's absolutely some shady dealings going on when it comes to these budgets for something like this in particular, because there's no excuse for it. I think a large part of this money went to The Rock, Chris Evans, J.K. Simmons, Lucy Liu. It has a star-studded cast. for no reason. It's a movie that I don't feel any of them even wanted to be a part of at all. Like, it really just feels like they kind of just phoned it in here. Like, there's nothing special, and yet it was $250 million, which means it is one of the larger budget movies that's been made. Like, Pirates of the Caribbean, for example, had less budget than fucking Red One. It's inexcusable. It is so gross. But at the end of the day, how was the movie? Was it good? No. Was it bad? No. It was just mid. As I expected, it was just a movie that was okay, and I will forget about by tomorrow because it's just not very good. I'll at least say it was interesting. I haven't seen a Christmas movie this unhinged before. Like, I truly don't know who the audience is. I want to get that out of the way up top. I don't know who this movie is made for. It's a PG-13 movie, but it's like a harder PG-13. Like, they use their fuck in it. Yet, it's supposed to be like a family-friendly Christmas film, I think. At least sometimes it's trying to be. But it like, I think it's too much for like toddlers because Krampus is in here and he's like a demon guy, so they'd probably be really afraid of him and like all of the demon guys around him. Like, it's a little much for a kid to be sitting through, especially because there is like a lot of strong language like in the film, surprisingly. And yet it's also not good enough to be enticing for an adult audience because the comedy doesn't work. The comedy is huge misses across the board. The comedy is not hitting. It is shitting big time. And also, the action is super weak. Like, there is some action here, but it's not good. Like, it's one punch, maybe two punches, and that's like an entire fight sequence. So it doesn't really have anything that I think adults will be entertained by either. It has impressive visuals, which, you know, thank God you would hope would be the case with $250 million. But again, there's nothing here that I think appeals to adults or kids. And I also think like the demographic in the middle is also not even going to be interested in seeing this at all because it is just like at least it puts on the appearance of a family-friendly Christmas film and not much else. I don't know who this is supposed to appeal to. I don't. And it was pretty clear with the theater's attendance. I was there almost entirely by myself in one of the biggest theaters at the theater I went to. One of the biggest auditoriums. When I was picking out the tickets, there were only, I think it was 6 occupied seats, and I showed up late. So I got there at like 9:10, and the movie had started at 9, and thus I would imagine everyone who was going to see it had already got their tickets and was in there. There was only 6, I think, it was either 6 or 8, filled seats when I was getting ticket. That's crazy. $250 million, and you can't even put asses in the seats with this kind of star-studded cast. You have failed. And I think the age of like Hollywood superstars guaranteeing box office successes is long behind us, which I think is a good thing. But I mean, damn, this was like shocking to me too, because I thought it would probably still do decently with this kind of star power, but it doesn't seem like it will be. So again, I don't know who the audience is. It seems like the audience doesn't exist in the first place. And even if there was an audience there, I feel like they'd still just be disappointed. It'd be a letdown. It's just not a very good movie. I will say it is interesting, though. Like, it is unhinged. So the concept is Chris Evans plays this superstar tracker hacker. He's like a dark web guy who gets hired by, you know, some weirdos to track people down that no one else can find. He gets an anonymous buyer who needs his services to find someone in the North Pole. So he hacks in there and he finds Santa Claus for our bad guys. And Santa Claus gets kidnapped. Now, Santa Claus, he lives in the North Pole with like a giant invisible dome that protects it so you can't just stumble across it. And when you go inside the dome, it's fucking Midgar. Santa Claus lives in Midgar from Final Fantasy. Like almost 1-to-1. He's like in Shinra Tower. I was stunned. Like, I felt like they had just lifted Final Fantasy VII like remake cutscene in there for Santa Claus's domain. And also in Santa Claus's domain, there's like fucking aliens that live there. Like, there's aliens, there's sentient animals like the polar bear enforcer, there's like penguins that work for him as well, and they can all talk and communicate. There's trolls. Trolls live there as well, and like there's like a whole team of troll hackers. Like they are trolls who are like cybersecurity experts. There's like little goblin things. I was immediately very surprised with the direction this was going. So I mean, credit where credit is due. I thought that was kind of cool and silly. Like, why the fuck are there aliens living with Santa? And I also did like their technology. They have unfathomable Warhammer 40k level tech at their disposal, which you can see like a little bit of in the trailer. So I thought those two things were cool. But aside from that, there's really not a whole lot else to like. Again, the visuals are cool, but the story sucks. The story's real bad. It's as predictable as you can possibly imagine. It follows exactly what you think it's going to follow from the very beginning of the movie. I feel like everyone who watches this is going to know exactly how it's going to play out, which I guess can be fine if the journey getting there is good, but it's really not. Like, I do like when the snowmen come in, because it's cool, right? And the snowmen have like an ice sword. I wish the fight was better, aside from like one punch and like one jab with the sword, but whatever. The Rock's got Ant-Man technology, so he shrinks and extends, and you know, that's cool. But they don't really do a whole lot with it. Like, the fight scenes are super short. For $250 million, you might as well have just really gone hog wild with the action. Like, that could have helped elevate it, but they didn't really do that. But I do like, I guess, the sense of adventure, because you have the snowman there, and then they visit Krampus, who's doing a slapping competition, which, I mean, that's near and dear to my heart with professional slapping, of course, but that's also highly underutilized. There's only like 2 slaps that get thrown, and that's it. Like, come on. It's just, I feel like everything it wanted to do, it just did extremely lazily. It's all just so flat and soulless. Again, it's not even horrible. It's not even like a terrible movie. It's just such a bland and really misguided one. Definitely not up there with Oppenheimer, I can comfortably say now after having watched it. And yeah, I don't know what the Rock is smoking, to be honest with you. I can't smell what the Rock is cooking anymore, man. It's sad. But yeah, Red One is okay, I guess. It's just mid. I don't know why you'd see it, really. Like, I guess maybe if it was on streaming services and you just wanted some background noise for the holidays that's loosely related to Christmas, I guess that could fill that role. But aside from that, I don't know the point of it. I really don't. That's about it. See ya. 2024 has been a remarkable year for awful horror movies. Every single month we're getting a brand spanking new disaster of horror delivered to the big screen and being charged over $10 for, which should be criminal for movies that are this bad, like Tarot and now Strangers Chapter 1. It blows my mind just how frequently they're putting out these revolting messes. No matter how you look at this movie or how generous you try to be with it, there is nothing to like. It is a pile of dog shit. It's actually worse than that, because real dog shit, like the tangible poop, it's at least free. This is dog shit you're paying $10 to sit through and be bored and miserable. It's just... Point is, Strangers Chapter 1 isn't very good. I'm sure, no doubt, most of you were able to sniff that out. I was trying to be very subtle with my critique off rip, be unbiased, but it's just hard with how bad this movie was. And it's made worse by the fact that I really like The Strangers, the first movie from 2008. I actually think it's a classic. The second one, I didn't like nearly as much. I actually forgot it existed until I went back and saw that they actually had one from 2018. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. I must have missed it. And then I watched the trailer and I was like, nope, I saw it. I remember this now. It like opened up a repressed memory. Anyway, though, Strangers Chapter 1 is far and away the worst in the franchise here, and one of the worst horror movies of the year. I don't think it's worse than Tarot, but Tarot was like genetically engineered to be the worst possible horror movie you could create. They had one of the writers for Moonfall direct that fucking thing. So like, it's going to be really hard for any movie to be worse than Tarot this year, but this one certainly tried to give it a run for its money. Now, Strangers Chapter 1 has a really interesting story, not in the actual movie itself, because the story is complete trash, but they actually filmed an entire trilogy for Strangers. And I don't mean like 2008 and 2018. I mean Strangers Chapter 1 is the start of their new trilogy that they've already filmed. Apparently they filmed all 3 movies, and they're going to be releasing this entire trilogy over the course of the next year. That's very ambitious, especially when you have something as weak as this to start with. I don't know how they're going to justify the existence of Chapter 2 or the final chapter, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't curious now, because how could it possibly get better? I know it can't get worse. This is definitely the worst I think it can possibly be for the Strangers, but what could they do to make it better? I don't know. The film ends with a to be continued, and nobody wants to continue this. But now I have this morbid curiosity with where this might go. Like, I have half a mind to expect this to start bringing in aliens and time travel or something. Like, I think it's going to get really off the rails. But let me just talk about what makes this movie so bad. And I'll actually start with this quote from the director. "Nothing is too ambitious for me. If it had been a straight remake or sequel, I would have definitely passed because at this point in my life, I wouldn't touch a classic like the original The Strangers." Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town? What are you talking about? Strangers Chapter 1 is literally a 1-to-1 remake of the 2008 Strangers movie, except the characters are stupider, they're more shallow, like these are the dullest characters I've ever seen in a horror film, and that is saying something extraordinary, because I thought Tarot had the worst characters, but the 2 characters, the main characters here, are so unlikable and have no depth to them at all. Somehow Tarot characters had better depth. Like, what do you mean? That you didn't want to just make it a straight remake and you would have passed if that's what the assignment was. You did do that. Everything that was present in 2008 Strangers is present here, but worse. It's as if AI was tasked with recreating the Strangers 2008, and it just ChatGPT threw this together to try and make it a close emulation, but lost all of the soul and what made that one so good. This movie is that. If you've seen 2008 The Strangers, you've already seen The Strangers Chapter 1. It's the exact same story. The only thing that changes is it's an Airbnb. But everything else is completely intact, including some of like the iconic scares done 1-to-1 but worse. It loses all of the tension of the 2008 Strangers. It's trash. You did remake that movie. Whether or not you set out with that goal, ultimately that's what you delivered. The best thing I can say about Strangers Chapter 1 is that at least it's only 91 minutes. So it's nice and short. You get in there, you get frustrated, you get bored, you leave, and you forget about the movie entirely because it sucked. At least it's not long. So thank you for that, I guess. So the story revolves around a man and a woman. They've been dating for 5 years. The guy hasn't proposed to her, which is a plot point that really doesn't do anything. It never leads to anything except for like a single line here and there about that. They're deeply in love and they're on a trip. They're making their way out to Oregon, but they encounter some car trouble and they end up getting stranded in a place called Venus, Oregon, and they get directed to an Airbnb to stay for the night while they wait for a guy named Rudy to fix their car. And most people in this small town are real sketchy, so it puts one of the main characters on edge, the guy. I already forgot his name. That's why I'm just referring to him as the guy. I actually don't remember their names, and I really don't feel like looking it up because it's not even worth remembering their names. So the guy and his girlfriend, they go into a diner because they're hungry. And the guy immediately just starts rolling a 1 on every charisma check. So everyone he interacts with for the entire first half of the movie ends up hating him because he tries to be like quippy with everyone and nobody likes it. So anytime he makes like a little quip, like for example, one of the diner waitresses said like, "Oh, you've been dating for 5 years? Why haven't you put a ring on it yet? What are you waiting for?" And he goes, "Well, right now I'm waiting on my turkey melt." And nobody laughs, so he just says, "Tough crowd." And he does that like 6 fucking times. He's so annoying, and every character hates him. This guy has negative charisma in his stats. So, anyway, whatever. Point is, he's unlikable by everyone in the movie, and everyone watching the movie too, because he has nothing to do. Like, he's not interesting. He has no real writing around him. He is just this hollow character that spits out a couple of bad quips and makes terribly stupid decisions. So, they're now staying at this Airbnb, and things are getting a little weird because there's someone that knocks on the door. They're banging on the door and they're asking for Tamara. They're like, "Not here. Go away, weirdo." So they go away and they come back again. "Where's Tamara?" "Hey, I already told you there's no Tamara here. You fucking scram. Take a hike." And him and his girlfriend, they're like trying to make the best out of this situation. She seems to really like it. And the guy takes his 6-pack of beer and he tries to put it in the fridge. He's like, "Damn, fridge isn't working. So he takes it out, and then his girlfriend finds a number to call if they need assistance with anything for the Airbnb owner. And I shit you not, it's like 1 a.m. And she grabs this number and calls the Airbnb owner to leave a message to send someone out to fix the fucking refrigerator at 1 a.m. so they could cool their beer. What an inconsiderate guest. Why would you do that? You're there for like maybe 6 hours. Why are you going to have someone come out at 1 a.m. to fix your fucking refrigerator so your boyfriend can put beer in it? But they end up just drinking all 6 beers anyway without them being cold. Like, it's so dumb. This is so stupid. I'm all over the place in breaking this down because this movie just really sucks and there's a lot I want to complain about. But, okay, back to that person knocking on the door. Eventually, the boyfriend realizes that he doesn't have his inhaler. His girlfriend says that she forgot to put it in the car when they got to the Airbnb because someone drove them there. And he's like, all right, that's fine. I'll just scoot back into town on this motorcycle I saw outside. So this Airbnb has a motorcycle. I want you to make a very strong note of that. A working motorcycle that the boyfriend, with no trouble whatsoever, takes into town, which is like 5 miles away or something like that. So he goes to get his inhaler, and she is now left alone in the house, and creepy stuff's happening. One of the strangers is singing "Rock-a-bye Baby." Like, all of the cliches you can possibly imagine for a horror movie are in this movie. Every single possible horror movie cliche. And they're done so much worse than you've ever seen them done before. So she's getting, like, on edge. You know, she's hearing these things, and you see, like, oh, the stranger creepy people are standing behind her, and she doesn't see them, but we see them. Whoa, spooky, frightening, and then jump scares out the wazoo. And it eventually culminates with them turning the power off, and she's got her phone flashlight out, and she sees one of the strangers in her mask standing right in front of her. So she runs upstairs and closes herself in. And then her boyfriend zooms back around on his motorcycle. He's got his inhaler and he's got a cheeseburger. Well, I also want to make note, while he was in town, he actually encountered some not weird people because the town was all sketchy. They were like really nervous around, you know, outsiders. But when he went back into town, everyone was super friendly, like normal young people. And they were talking like, hey, why don't you just like hang out with us? And he's like, nah, I got to get back to the house. So I want to make that clear that there are normal people there. He goes back to the house with the inhaler and a cheeseburger, and he's like, hey, what's going on, lady? What are you sitting on the floor for? What's going on, girlfriend? That's so weird. And she's like, no, there's someone in the house. I saw someone standing in the house. And he's like, someone in the house? Really? Have you been smoking? I shit you not. He says, have you been smoking? And she's like, well, yeah, a little bit. And he's like, show me where this person was standing. So she takes him downstairs to where the stranger in the mask, like, frightened her. And then he looks around and he sees a picture on a wall of a clown. And he's like, oh, I know what happened here. Does this look familiar? And he does this in front of her, blocking the clown photo and then unblocking it. And he's like, this is what you saw. It wasn't somebody standing in this house. You just saw the picture of the clown. And you're just so high that you fucked up. And then he goes, the Freaky Brothers is strong stuff. That's a line in the movie. He says the Freaky Brothers is strong stuff, referring to what she was smoking. I have to imagine the director was on the Freaky Brothers when he was making this movie, because it is so fucking stupid. It is so fucking stupid. How in the world would you be like, hey, listen, it was definitely this picture you saw, not a human being standing here. That makes a lot more sense. You could be on PCP and probably not mistake a photo of a clown for a human being standing in front of you. And yet this goober gaslights her and convinces her that that's what it was. So then they go about the rest of their night. And if either one of them was thinking logically, what should have happened there is they both get on the motorcycle and they ride into town and just spend the rest of the night around the normal people. Because there's normal people that invited them to just hang out. So they would have just rode back into town and like, yep, Airbnb was fucked up. There's some creepy people scaring my girlfriend. Let's go back into town with these normal people and just stay there till the car's repaired in the morning. That would have been the logical thing because they have a working vehicle that they just used, and it would have immediately ended the movie on the spot. But that's not how it plays out because no one was thinking. So instead, they just sit there, they listen to some records, and then eventually one of the strangers wearing the mask, like basically the scarecrow mask out of Batman Begins, slams his axe through the door, and that's when it hits the boyfriend like, oh, my girlfriend's not crazy. Oh, we're in danger. So they run into one of the rooms, duck and cover, and just wait for everything to blow over, where one of the strangers with the axe just busts through the door, looks at them, and then walks away. And immediately after he walks away, like maybe 5 seconds, the boyfriend goes and he's like, all right, they're gone. We're safe now. It's actually like an NPC out of a like an Oblivion or something, where the second you break line of sight, they're like, oh, must have been the wind, just cease to exist. So the boyfriend and the girlfriend are like, okay, we need to get some weapons, we need to like prep just in case they come back, because fucking obviously, like, it's not like they just vanished. So they start looking around for weapons to no avail. Eventually the girlfriend like busts off one of the grates, and there's another thing I want to point out. The room they were ducking and covering in, there was a window right behind them. They could have just went through the fucking window and then just taken their chances in the forest, but they don't do that. Instead, I also skipped something. When they do get out of the room, they immediately go to the motorcycle. Way too fucking late for that, because now all the strangers are there, and the motorcycle blows up. So, motorcycle's gone, they run back into the house, they go into another room, and that's when the girlfriend takes like the air vent grate off the wall, and they both climb in there. Now they're under the house, crawling around, trying not to make noise, and the girlfriend hits her hand on a nail, and a nail goes through. A scene that we saw 1-to-1 and done significantly better in A Quiet Place. So now she got a nail in her hand and she can't scream because obviously the strangers would hear them. So now she has to deal with that. He takes the nail out, and they crawl around under the house and eventually make it to like this little door that opens up under the house. And they open it up, get outside, and immediately start talking at full volume. What the fuck? Like, they've only gone like maybe a couple of feet, and they just start talking at full volume. And obviously the strangers can fucking hear that. They just recognized that they needed to be quiet. They couldn't make a peep. She couldn't even scream with a nail going through her hand. And then 2 feet later, it's like, okay, now we can just use our outside voices. It's so dumb. They're so stupid. But what's even stupider is, now they're outside, they could just run through the forest, and their odds are pretty decent there since there's so much land. It'd be hard for just 3 strangers, to locate these 2 individuals who are both in fine shape to be running. But instead of just doing that, what they decide to do is go to the shed next door, which is something obviously the strangers are going to be checking for. The shed, right? But whatever. Stupid decision. Number 20 already. They go into the shed looking for a weapon. I don't know why they thought there would be a weapon there, because obviously if the strangers are there, they probably would have gotten rid of the weapons, or at the very least been guarding them. So they go into the shed, they start waiting, and the guy goes upstairs and finds a fucking shotgun. So the strangers are stupid too, because they clearly know the property, and there is a stranger in the shed who keeps stalking them, watching them pick up the shotgun and everything, just lets them have the shotgun. And then the guy starts like blasting at some of the strangers, of course missing every shot because it's a horror movie, so they can't have good aim. And now the boyfriend and the girlfriend start having a little more confidence, so they're wandering around, they're creeping around the house, and they hear someone banging on the front door. They're like, okay, we've got the jump on them, we've flanked them, and we've got a shotgun now. So the boyfriend says, stay here, I've got this. So he turns the corner, and just like out of Gears of War, he pops out of the corner and fucking blasts him. Literally, like, blind fires the guy, and he's like, I got him, and the girlfriend goes over and looks and is like, damn, that wasn't one of the strangers, you blasted Joe, the owner of the Airbnb. You remember earlier when they called about the fridge? Well, Joe got their message, scoots out here at fucking 4 a.m., starts banging on their door ready to fix a refrigerator, and gets hit with a shotgun in the face. Literally just blows his brains out. And then the guy's like, oh no, oh Joe, I'm so sorry, Joe. She's like, no, don't worry, you're trying to protect us, I get it, it's okay. And he's like, wait, his keys. He drove a car here. So they get into Joe's car over his lifeless, dead, fucking cold corpse, and start trying to get out of there with the car. But one of the strangers happens to be in his truck, and he starts hitting their car with his truck, and then he pins that car against the tree and his truck, and he keeps hitting it. And then the guy's like, go, save yourself, girlfriend, go, lady, please, save yourself. I've got this, I'll be okay. And then he remembers that he has a shotgun in the car because he took it with him. And then he gets the shotgun out and he's ready to shoot the guy, but the stranger's gone. Because he fucking waited until he stopped moving, like he stops hitting his car with his truck to get the shotgun out. Why wouldn't that be the first thing he would do the second he got hit by that truck? The shotgun is next to him. Literally, like, as close to me, as close as I am to my mouse is where the shotgun was. And he gets hit by this truck like 20 times. He just backs it up like the scene in Austin Powers, backs it forward into his car, lets this happen like 20 times, and he's like, all right, just get out of here, girlfriend. I'll, save yourself. I'll sacrifice myself for you. Grabs the shotgun, and then when he's finally ready, obviously the stranger's gone because it's been so many hits, and the stranger got bored. But if he had just done that, like maybe 10 seconds sooner, he could have just easily had the cleanest shot ever and killed that guy with the shotgun. So anyway, eventually he crawls out of the car. The lady's running through the forest. She like buries herself under some sticks to hide. Then one of the strangers looks down, doesn't see her in the sticks, so the stranger walks away. And like immediately after that stranger leaves, de-aggroes, she gets a cell phone out and calls the police. While the stranger is still like maybe at best 5 feet away. She would hear that. But whatever, she gets the call off to the police and then starts running through the forest again, but now the stranger sees her. And the guy's wandering around the forest with a shotgun trying to find the girl. Actually, the guy flanks one of the strangers, puts the shotgun to the back of her head and says, where's my girlfriend? Drop the knife. So the girl drops the knife, doesn't say anything, just starts laughing. He's like, give me one reason why I shouldn't kill you. And she just keeps laughing and is like shoving the gun in her face. And he doesn't fucking shoot her. This dude just blasted an innocent man in the middle of the night who was coming to repair a refrigerator, and he won't shoot the fucking people that are trying to kill them. It's painful. It's painful. So he doesn't shoot her, and instead he gets knocked out by the guy. The girl gets knocked out by another one of the strangers, and then the strangers end up just stabbing both of them in the house, and then the police show up, and the girl survives and gives us a to be continued for chapter 2. It's so bad. It's so shitty. It's so shitty. There's like so much more I'm sure I could vent about if I really like stopped to think about more of the scenes, but it's just not worth it. It's just bad. And to think that they filmed 2 more of these, that's crazy to me. So yeah, anyway, can't wait for Strangers Chapter 2. If I was to plug this into the moist meter, I'd probably give it like a 15% maybe. Like that feels a little high for this film, but whatever. It's just not good. That's about it. See ya. I imagine most of you were living your life in ignorant bliss, not even knowing there was a new Hellboy movie coming out. About 2 months ago, they released a trailer for Hellboy the Crooked Man, and the resub Rojo. What tickets are we talking about? Well, the big one right now is the My Chemical Romance one, but I wanted to talk about like the nastiness of tickets in general. And also I want to learn a little bit more about it, because it seems deeper than I initially thought. Ticketmaster's obviously a huge villain, but it seems like a lot of the time they're the fall guy for the greed of the bands performing, or the artists performing, not always bands. And I didn't know that. What's the most you've paid for a ticket? I haven't been to many shows. I think the most expensive ticket I ever bought, I don't think I've ever paid more than like 200 beans for a ticket. Because like I usually just go to local shows around here and they're always like super cheap because they're at small little venues. Like I went to an Attila concert and it was like, shit, I don't know, I think I paid like $75, if that. Oh, you know what it was? Actually, I remember the most expensive ticket I bought. It was Ariana Grande. I went to an Ariana Grande concert in 2017, I think it was. And the tickets, I think, were about $400 to $500 a pop. That's what it was. Ariana Grande. Do you think that price was fair? No, we had terrible seats. Absolutely not. No. For 400 to 500 beans, I would hope that those tickets were like, you know, it's not gonna be front row, I get it, whatever, but like, come on, at least like within the first story and a half maybe would be cool. What you just said about Ticketmaster being the fall guys, 1000% the biggest thing people don't understand. Ticketmaster's biggest service is being the punching bag for artists charging the insane prices. And that's what I just was learning about right before stream, which is why I wanted to talk about like the whole wild world of ticket prices. Because everyone knows Ticketmaster sucks. Everybody knows that, right? Who doesn't hate scalpers? I like everybody knows that. What I didn't know, here, we'll just go ahead and start getting into it. What I didn't know, in a case like this, where My Chemical Romance tickets are like $700 for like not great tickets, like at a not great area, like it's not Ticketmaster. So My Chemical Romance is doing fluctuating demand pricing. So the bigger demand, the bigger the price. That's their decision. That's entirely My Chemical Romance's decision. So this article talked about it a little bit down here, where according to the screenshot of the Ticketmaster website, tickets were priced anywhere from $63 to $695. And then it goes on to talk about, where is it? Here. The ticket prices soared later on in the sale, prompting speculation among fans that the band had opted into dynamic pricing. The controversial practice inflates ticket prices based on demand, and it's now understood that it can be turned on or off by artists.
Plums,
so while Ticketmaster
listen,
rightfully is like a spittoon that everyone takes turns hawking loogies in, it is a lot of the times, it seems, the band's decision for outrageous prices. Like, dynamic pricing is something My Chemical Romance decided on, or at least whoever manages them. Do people still listen to My Chemical Romance? They are still, even though I don't think they've released a new song in years. Well, that's not true. They had like 2 songs a few years ago they released when they came back. But they are still a massive band. I mean, I still listen to a couple of their songs, like Helena, Ghost to You is their best one. But I mean, I would never pay prices like this. Holy. My pit ticket for My Chemical Romance was nowhere near this much. This is an hour after I bought it. Fuck resellers. $7K is a whole car. Section F, row 2, $6,700 for a My Chemical Romance ticket. Followed 21 Pilots on tour for only 5 shows this most recent tour, and it drained my bank account. They don't do fluctuating prices. It's all resellers scamming people. Yeah, I don't think every band that uses Ticketmaster does fluctuating prices. I was reading like some of the responses to this like on Reddit. Apparently Robert Smith of The Cure called out Ticketmaster on their bullshit and even mentioned that artists use dynamic pricing. They know exactly what they're doing. So not every artist is going to opt into doing that, but it does seem like Ticketmaster shoulders a lot of the blame for artists, even though it's the artist that is deciding some of the prices and the decisions with it. Apparently the most expensive concert ticket was a $168,000 for Led Zeppelin concert. Holy. Even 600 is a scam? Yeah, no shit, man. It is. Like, you have to keep in mind, these are not front row seats you're getting for $700. And as illustrated here, it seems to have a dynamic pricing model, and since so many people want to see My Chemical Romance, the price just keeps soaring. So 700 is probably like the lowest price you could get. Because apparently waiting an hour had it up in the thousands for closer seats. One of the issues are the scalpers and fees, massive bitch when buying tickets. Yeah. Yeah. Can't believe the ticket prices. I got this ticket from a cop for $1,200. Banger, nice Sapphire. It's not like those tickets sell out in an hour though. Yeah, that's I know. I don't understand. Like there's still so much I guess I didn't know about the Ticketmaster model. It's just very interesting. What's the most you would pay to see Deftones? I don't know. They have a concert coming up. Actually, you know what? That's a really good thing to check in. How much are Deftones tickets right now? So February 25th for Portland, Oregon Deftone tickets, it is, for the nosebleeds, it's $35, which sounds about right. And for the section above that, or below that, it is $230. Wow, that's quite a jump. What? Wait, it goes from $35 to $230 from just, holy. General admission is $398 for a verified resale ticket. Mosh pits, though? Yeah, I'm trying to find the pit here. I haven't found that price yet, because right now I'm still just in the section below nosebleeds. Oh, actually, they don't have a pit. Looked like they did. They don't, not in this venue. But the closest seats are 300. What do you think is a fair price to go see current artists? I think it just depends on the seats. Like, honestly, I think $35 for nosebleeds for a band of, like, Deftones size, that doesn't bother me. But going just one below that, all the way up to 300, that's absurd. It should be, like, a logical jump. Like, maybe you double it. So 30 to 60 to be down there, and then, like, the front row, like, in the 150, 200-ish, I think would make a lot more sense. Because, I mean, they're probably one of the biggest bands, I would say, that still tours actively. At least that I can think of off the top of my head. You remember when Blink-182 tickets were like 500? Oh, I remember that. Yeah, we talked about that. How much is front row Taylor tickets? Those are notorious for being absurdly expensive. Let's see. My God. For the Toronto, Canada show, November 21st, the Rogers Center, lowest ticket price is $1,083. Jesus. Oh my. Sweet heavens. They say artists choose to opt in, but contracts already have that forced down their throats. Way too much money on the table to leave it up to artists. So that was another thing. The bands opt in, but like I said, it could be whoever manages them. So Ticketmaster's owned by Live Nation, which to me seems like that'd be a huge conflict. I mean, I would think, honestly. But I do think you're probably right in some cases where they have it forced into the contract that it's going to be like dynamic pricing and crazy ticket prices. But I just still don't think that's overly excusable, to be honest. Like, if you're My Chemical Romance, you can 100% say, we will not do dynamic pricing. You could tell your manager that. You have the ability to not do it. Which is exactly what Robert Smith said. I worked at Ticketmaster for 5 years, AMA. Oh, did you? I don't think there's any questions, though. Like, the big thing for me was just learning that the artists themselves are the ones that opt into the dynamic pricing. And Ticketmaster, they just big fall guy for them. That's just part of their service. They take all the heat. So that way the bands look innocent. I don't think I have any like direct questions about it. It's just greed for the sake of greed. How much are they? 700 for the lowest. Up to 7,000 for the My Chemical Romance tickets, which is what we were talking about at the beginning of the stream. What do you get for the 7,000? To stand in the crowd and listen to the music. It's not often I like to spend a lot of time and play around in the pig pen when it comes to internet beef. I usually like to put that beef on a taco and just eat it one time, and I don't think there's any reason to go back for seconds. Typically, the cycle of life works. I'll make a video on something or someone, make jokes about it, talk about it, and then that person will respond with their own jokes, saying their own piece, and that's that. That's proper internet drama etiquette. That's just a beautiful thing, the way the Lord intended. I don't usually like to go back and respond to their response. It just seems highly unnecessary and feels more like milking a situation than actually like making it entertaining or just generally talking about something. Of course, I have done it in the past a few times where it really feels like it's an important situation and one that I really do need to respond to again, or if it's just a highly wild one and I just have that little devil on my shoulder that I can't persuade otherwise and it forces me to make yet another video about something silly. But usually I steer clear of it, and today is one of those special cases where I am going to be responding to someone's response. 2 days ago now, I made a video on a self-proclaimed super wealthy guru who was talking about how he could take your girl because he has so much money, and if you make less than 10K a month, you shouldn't go to the gym. You're a fucking idiot if you go to the gym. It was just really embarrassing stuff, and I was just pointing out how silly and stupid all of it was, just making fun of him. And he didn't take too kindly to it, so he put on his extra small big boy pants and said, "Alright, bub, so you want to tussle with the lack of muscle? I'll challenge you to a fight." So he made a fight declaration to me to like box me. And this is the main reason I'm talking about this goober again. When you challenge someone to a fight because they made jokes about you, I feel like you lose on the spot because all you're showing is that the jokes hurt your feelings. They got under your skin. So now you're coping with this defense mechanism of, I'll beat you in a fight because of what you said. And I feel like that's just the ultimate fucking L. Now, let's walk through this hypothetical. Let's say I took up the malnourished Martian on his fight offer and he beats my ass. He brutalizes me somehow. He takes his McLaren out and he's like, "Get a load of this, tough guy," and he starts wailing on me. What does that change about everything I've said about him? It's all still the truth. All the jokes are still applicable. It's just never fully computed with me because it always comes across as even whinier and more pathetic, at least in my eyes. And I'm sure the reason he's doing it is just for the sake of soaking up as much attention as possible. He makes it very clear in the beginning of the video that he's doing all of this for views, so I have no doubt that's the play. But what if I was to accept his offer? I feel like that would be his legitimate worst nightmare, because I am 100% sure he's never thrown a punch in his life, not even in his dreams, because his bones would shatter. And let's not forget, I do keep that big iron on me. And these pythons, they don't play nice. But being in great shape doesn't correlate to being a great fighter, so who knows, maybe this guy absolutely could slap me around in a physical fight. But we won't find out, because I don't plan on accepting the offer regardless.
It was by this guy Penguins, whatever his name is.
Brother, you have the video up on the screen. What do you mean Penguins, whatever his name is? You could have just opened your eyes. Are you too wealthy to just read? Can you read? It's Penguin Z0.
He was talking a bunch of crap about my video, so we're going to respond. This is my reaction. Okay, we're not going to get heated in this. I'm not really massively triggered. I just want to take advantage of the views, so we're going to get right into this.
Immediately, this little weasel's already lying. I wasn't talking crap about his videos. I was talking shit about his videos.
Okay, I don't only own a McLaren. I used to have a 570S that was white. If you followed me for a while, you know this. It was a convertible drop top. Okay, had that car, sold it, got a yellow Maserati, then got bored, and I was like, I got to get another McLaren. So I have a McLaren, a Maserati Ghibli. That's a 1 of 5, by the way, which costs way more than this entire fucking YouTube channel's ad revenue on a monthly basis. And then...
Man, he's really putting that egg on my face right now. I look real silly. This guy means business. He's got a lot of expensive cars. Holy shit. And he sets the record straight. The McLaren isn't rented. He showed the keys. And then even mentioned that he puts his Instagram sticker on the back. So I'd prefer if he just rented it. You put your fucking Instagram handle as a sticker on the back of your McLaren, it's already worthless now. You've ruined it.
I literally post this thing all around. I have my Instagram sticker on the back. People have seen the videos all over. You can't rent that every single day. Okay, so this part pisses me off because he says the name wrong like 8 times in a row. It's not McLaren, it's McLaren. Okay, so that's how we know this guy doesn't really have a lot of status. He doesn't understand these things.
Well, you can't argue with him there. That is a bulletproof case he's presented. I wasn't pronouncing it to his liking. I wasn't saying McLaren, though. I was just saying it fast. McLaren, 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 McLaren. Like, it's not a hard word to pronounce. I don't know why he's trying to nitpick that. But anyway, I don't need to go through this with a fine-tooth comb. I'll show you the creme de la creme here. I'll give you the climax where he mentions the boxing match with me.
The funny part is that I don't need to be in shape. And you know what? I'm going to make this statement in the video. We should do a boxing match with him because he does not. I'll box this guy. I'll do something with him because I guarantee you he can't outrun me in a mile. Okay, I can still, to this very day, with the amount of times that I don't work out, I can still run a 6-minute mile, maybe 5.5-minute mile.
Whoa, stand back. We got ace athlete out here who could beat me in a race, which he absolutely could. I have no doubt about that. I can count on 2 fingers the people I can beat in a foot race. 1, a toddler that hasn't learned to walk yet, so he can only crawl, and 2, a 90-year-old that's using a walker. Everything else is going to be a close match. Though I don't know what running has to do with boxing. The two don't really correlate. They're very different. But anyway, the boxing offer. This is what I'm saying. I find that to just be completely worthless. Like, that has nothing to do with anything I was saying at all. If I was making the claim that I could beat his ass, then that boxing challenge holds a lot of water. Then that holds a lot of weight. I was just making fun of him. I've just always said, like, if you challenge someone to a fight because they hurt your feelings, that's an embarrassing look for you. It'd be a very different story if I was the one instigating, like, oh man, this guy, I'd beat his ass all over the place. I'd beat him like a drum. Then him challenge me to a fight's like, okay, he's stepping up. Now, am I going to follow through on what I was saying? And then it's on me, and then I look like a bitch if I don't. And I feel like that's not a super hot take, because usually it's a fight fire with fire. So if you're getting insulted or you feel insulted because of the jokes, you insult back or make jokes back. And that's the accepted battle terms. For an example, Uwe Boll. Terrible director, used to make a lot of awful films, but his big shtick that made him a legendary clown is he would challenge his harshest critics to boxing matches. Critics that insulted his movies, he would challenge to a boxing match and he became an absolute laughingstock, even though somebody once accepted it and lost. Uwe Boll was still the bigger joke, and in fact was even a larger joke after winning against this critic. He didn't look tougher, he looked even stupider. It's just one of those things where when you get offended and your defense is, I'll fight you for it, I just feel like it's a bad look.
If I don't go to the gym, that doesn't mean I'm insecure. It means that I'm actually more confident in my body. I'm very talented in other areas. I don't need to have big muscles to be good or athletic at things, right? A lot of the things that we challenge ourselves with that we think that we can't achieve are all up here. It really has not a lot to do with physical. I'm a marketer. I don't need to be massively fit, okay? I like to have all my stuff up here. Doesn't mean I have to go to the gym and be this muscle maniac. That this everybody has their own preference. I think that it's a waste of time. I think it's a mounds of insecurity.
This is the section where I was talking about his shaming of people that go to the gym and calling them fucking idiots for it. So he's immediately going off the rails into like lecture douchebag mode where he's like, well, actually, a lot of the obstacles that you encounter are mental, not physical. Like, that has nothing to do with anything right now. You're fighting some fucking ghosts. That doesn't matter. The whole point was, I even mentioned, if you're confident in your body, that's great. Why are you shaming people that want to look different than you do? You shitting on people who go to the gym, insinuating that they're poor and have no right to be there unless they're making more than $10,000 a month comes across as bitter, delusional, and insecure. And for some reason, he tries to flip that around by saying, well, no, actually, going to the gym portrays insecurity. Like, the delusion is almost impressive. You're not even making any good points here. You're not even defending your stance very well. No one's forcing you to go to the gym. No one's twisting your arm like, hey, listen, Buster, get your ass in the gym. You don't have to. No one's making you. But why are you shitting on people that do? It's not a waste of time at all. It's not even a huge time commitment to get in good shape. An hour a day and then changing your diet around to make your health better? Like, it's not even this huge detriment that's going to lead to them being broke or anything. It's just absolute nonsense from a guy who I'm certain has never picked up anything heavy in his life.
Because if you look at a person who lifts and a person who doesn't lift but has a lot of skill sets and has high intellect, the guy with a lot of intellect, with a lot of path and purpose and skill sets, it's going to win. Just because you can lift things doesn't mean you're smart. It just means that you can just lift shit. I mean, it's like...
So much useless drivel and cope for why he doesn't lift. You can do both here, dummy. You can lift and still be highly intellectual, even if being in great shape isn't necessary for the skill set for your career path. It's still probably worth doing because it's not a massive time investment for it. Lifting occasionally and eating better is not somehow going to ruin your chance of success and lead to you being broke and unable to find a career path that makes more than 10K a month or whatever the fuck you're talking about. This is just all mental gymnastics to justify you personally not wanting to go to the gym. Just don't. But I don't understand the point in shitting in people who do. It's just so weird.
There's no excuse to why you can't make 10K a month. And honestly, life doesn't really start until $30,000 a month. I make a bunch of videos about this.
I know a lot of people think this guy is rage baiting or playing a character, but I have good reason to believe that he is completely genuine. From everything I've seen from him, this really does seem to be the way he views the world. He proudly proclaims that life doesn't start till you're making $30K a month, and that there's absolutely no excuse for somehow making less than $10K a month. This is a guy who lost touch with reality long, long ago.
It's not what I'm talking about as far as protected. It's not about the physicality. It's about the fact of the matter that she needs to feel safe and protected in a nice home with a good financial situation, be able to raise kids and be able to go out with her friends and still be the woman that she wants to be and have her own path and purpose. It's not about the physicality, okay? And also, if you make enough money, you get a security team, okay? Now, I don't have one, but all I'm saying there is that you use money to give you extra freedoms.
So he made a point to say that if you're not making 6 figures a year, you need to break up with your girlfriend right now because he'll probably fucking steal her from you because he has more money, which means he can protect her and provide for her better than you can. He explains that the protecting thing wasn't about physicality, like physically being able to defend her from harm. It was being able to give her like a big house and shelter and financial freedom to spend money to go out with her friends and raise a kid. Now, I live in the real world where you don't need 6 figures to be able to provide a safe household like that to afford those kind of good things. But he's out there in fucking Narnia, Fantasyland, where apparently you need 6 figures for that. But regardless, what really stands out to me is his last claim, where when you're making a lot of money, you get a security team. That was a huge red flag. That sounded the alarms, the sirens blared that this guy is most likely a fraud and pretending he is fake. We, at our warehouse, actually did look into hiring a full-time security team for the property. It is an outrageous expense. From all of the research I've done on his media company, I can neither confirm nor deny if his claims are accurate about it generating 9 figures for his clients. The only place that's spouting those numbers are his websites, and he has fucking 3 of them. One of them hasn't been maintained in the last 3 years. all it does is drip feed fanfic about his upbringing, as well as 404 when you try and look up anything else about it. And then underneath a documentary he made where he sucks his own dick, it's just this giant white page, just this void of emptiness. So there's no good information there, but on his other two websites, he does have claims that it's 9-figure generating. But as he mentions in his response, that doesn't mean he's worth 9 figures. From all of the numbers I can find online, and I always take these with a grain of salt, his net worth is between $3 to $6 million. If those numbers are even close to accurate, he himself couldn't afford a full-time security team. He lives where I do, in Florida. If you wanted to hire just one full-time bodyguard for a property or whatever, you are looking at an expense of roughly $150K for one person. That's not even a full team. He would run out of money in like 2 years, perhaps. So it, to me, seems like he has no fucking clue what he's talking about. He's making it sound like this is a common purchase people start making when they start getting a lot of money, when it is not. This is something that's reserved only for like the highest income individuals or actual large businesses. To me, this really just feels like he's pretending. And making more than 10K a month doesn't enable you to magically protect her better.
If you see how he edits the video right there, he trimmed it because he knew what he was about to say was stupid. That's the only time where he trimmed the video, where he cut it. Because he knows that he was about to say that it's not important to make 10K a month when I know damn well with 12 million subscribers, he makes more than $10,000 a month. It's hypocritical for him to say that because he has things behind him right now that, from what I can see, they're not cheap things.
This is a big gotcha moment from him here. An astute observation, he noticed a cut, but then falsely claims it's the only one I made. Bro, I make cuts in videos. This isn't all just one take. Sometimes I actually do get videos in just like one full fucking take, but usually I don't. I'll fumble words, and that's when it gets cut, and I'll go back and explain things differently, say something else entirely. It's all very normal. I actually just did it. I'm not sure if you noticed. It's not uncommon. In a live stream, I can't do that, so yeah, all of that's one take. But, I mean, you're in the space, right? Like, you have to know how video editing works and video making. I don't know why he's trying to catch me on a cut and assuming that I was about to say that making 10K a month isn't important. And it's also not hypocritical either, if I was to make that point. You don't need to be making 10K a month to be happy. You just simply don't. Your whole personality is money. I lived the majority of my life without even imagining $10,000 a month, and I was happy then too. Just as happy then as I am now. It's not a necessary, absolute must-have thing, and you're not a failure if you don't get $10,000 a month. Contrary to the delusion that you're fucking encumbered by, you don't need 30K a month to start living. You don't. Like, I can't believe anyone actually thinks that way. What an outrageous claim to make. So, I wasn't going to say that, but I'll say it now. You don't need 10K a month in order to go to the gym, to have a loving relationship, to provide for your girlfriend, protect her, have a happy life, have happy kids. You don't ever need to breach 10K a month to reach that level.
It's not a bad spot. I don't need a massive house with 18 fucking bedrooms with nobody to vacate them. That's a stupid financial investment, okay? The car is not, because the car is for marketing. The car is something I enjoy. Houses are stationary. They don't move. Cars move, and I have fun with the wind in my face.
Finally, something reasonable here. I pointed out that his house tour is a very nice spot, but it's not a mega mansion, which confused me because he's all about flexing his cars, for example. And he defended it by saying that it's a nice spot, but he doesn't need a big house. He doesn't want a huge mansion. It'd be a bad investment for him financially. He doesn't want a lot of eyes on him. And all of that makes sense. Completely agree. You don't need a huge house or anything like that. But then why doesn't that same line of logic apply to your McLaren and your supercars, your extremely expensive cars? He tries to say that the cars are for marketing. Why? Because you slap your Instagram handle on the back of one of them? I'm just going to hit you with the cold water and give you the truth. There has never been a single living, breathing human being that has seen a car with an Instagram handle on it that thought to themselves, wow, that piqued my interest. I can't wait to check out that Instagram account of that cool guy driving that car. 100% of the time, people write you off as driving a cringe-mobile. That is the worst marketing. It's like anti-marketing. It makes people laugh at you. But regardless, with the house, you're right. You don't need a big house. Same way you didn't need those expensive cars. But you mentioned that you have fun with them. Well, I'd actually understand if you did have a mega mansion because it'd fall in line with what you were just talking about, where guys who don't make 6 figures a month need to break up with their girlfriends because they can't protect and provide. If you had a big house, you would be providing for your girlfriend, right? You mentioned that you have a girlfriend. I imagine she lives with you. You mentioned people live with you. Wouldn't getting a huge house pretty much be exactly what you preach? You're giving her a great place to be protected in, provided, afforded luxuries, raise a kid in. Like, that falls more in line with what you're saying than owning these worthless supercars. Like, that feels like it should be so much further down the list of priorities for your money. Now, I completely agree. You don't need a big house. But what you're not recognizing is that the way you're living your life in terms of, like, your house is exactly what I and everyone else with a brain is saying. That you don't need $30K a month to live a happy life. You don't need $30K a month to start living, as you claim. You are in a house right now with your girlfriend and whoever else that people could afford without $30K a month, and you are happy. And I imagine they are happy as well. So the life you are currently living contradicts the one that you are preaching about. You are living a lifestyle that is not $30K a month. You are living something that people can live right now without even coming close to that. And yet you're shitting on them if they don't reach it and shaming them for not making that kind of money. It's hypocritical, I would argue. I just wanted to mention that because I found it to be the most interesting component here. I ended up going through more of the video here than I planned on. I just found the whole thing to be just kind of fascinating in a way, so I just wanted to talk about it a little bit, and that's about it. So yeah. I've thrown on the formal attire today because we need to discuss something very important. A huge loser named Bintellect. Big goofball, weirdo, lame-mo, behemoth creep. He is a big TikTok creator, and that's a word I'm using very loosely here, with 11 million followers, and I'm sure only people under the age of 10 have ever heard of him before. What he's become known for over the years is looking at tweets or comments, reading them out, and then going, hehehe, yeah. That's literally it. But sometimes it's a little hard to even muster a laugh, so what he'll do is he'll read one of the comments and then go, yeah, true. And then that's the whole TikTok. But I'm not here just to give him a little wet willy and laugh at him for all of his cringe. I am here to talk about something far more degenerate. But before doing that, I'd like to give a quick honorable mention to something else this piss stain of a person is notorious for doing. Threatening legal action against people that make fun of him. I've seen a couple videos on Bintellect now after I've been informed of the situation, so I did a little digging. Apparently when people make fun of him, he gets super offended and will either try and copyright strike, take down the video, copyright claim it to make money from it, or even go as far as to just threaten to sue the person that made fun of him. You disgusting goblin, you make me sick. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. Now, while I do think a legal battle with Benjamin over me making fun of him would be hilarious, I still just don't really feel like showing you any of his clips because it's just going to rot your brain and it's yucky. It's just trash. So, no reason for that. Let's get into what I want to discuss, the new information that came out about this weirdo. So, Bintellect recently made a podcast, I suppose, and he invited someone on named Jordan Max, and then things got really odd. He got super hostile, and she ended up posting about it, which led to this dam breaking, and we were flooded with cringe about Bintellect's behavior over the years with women. So this horny little goblin asks her before going on the podcast, do you want to make a video for OnlyFans? To which she says, when? He says, today. And then she's saying, no, you need to be tested within the last 14 days and have an OnlyFans creator account. But then he says, I mean a video for your page. Oh, what a benevolent saint. He was actually just thinking about her the whole time. He thought this would be a good opportunity for her to make some OnlyFans content with the great Big Bintellect. So she says, doing what? And he goes, I don't know what performs best on your page. I can literally see him doing this. Well, I mean, I don't know what we do. I mean, what do you do on OnlyFans? Maybe we could do that? So it's become pretty clear that Bintellect uses this podcast as a way of just fucking. It seems to me like the whole podcast existence is only here as a way of trying to get Bintellect laid. So he tries to leverage his big follower count to then invite on OnlyFans models and then ask if he can make content with them. It's pretty pathetic stuff, but we're only just beginning. He continues by saying, I was just thinking you're helping me with doing a video for my YouTube, so maybe I could help you with your OnlyFans. And she replies, I'm good, thanks. So then he goes, no worries. And then, hey, I'm gonna do the pickle video with someone else, thanks though. To which she asks, why? So the pickle video he's referring to is the podcast was going to be a pickle tier list mukbang or something like that, a pickle mukbang. And it was her idea, it was Jordan's idea, and he's now kicking her out because she declined to do an OnlyFans video with him. So his answer to why was, to be honest, I thought it would just be fun to film and see where things go, but I got it. So he gets real sad and pitiful, like, no, I get it. I just thought it'd be fun, but clearly it won't be fun. I'm gonna do it with someone else then. How about that? So he goes real Neanderthal mode here. My wiener no get wet, we no eat pickle together on podcast. Goodbye. How dare you not do OnlyFans video with Bintellect? So then he says he's doing it with someone else. So Jordan, of course, gets really weirded out by this exchange. She posts it on Twitter, and then Bintellect himself, the man, the myth, the legend, reaches out in DMs to threaten to sue her if she doesn't take down the post. She even did a video proving that the DM is real from the real Bintellect account, just to 100% silence any possible doubt. Also, her response to it is great. She said, I will just be waiting to hear from your lawyers then, which is hardcore. Obviously, Bin's not going to sue her. I don't think he's ever actually gone through with a lawsuit. He uses it to try and bully people to do what he wants. To do what he wants them to do, rather. So, I don't think any lawsuit was ever coming. This was just a last-ditch Hail Mary from a desperate, lonely guy to try and get rid of the evidence of him being a creep. So, that was the whole interaction between Bintellect and Jordan, but after this tweet started popping off, well, the series of tweets started popping off, she then started getting DMs with more screenshots and more evidence of Bintellect doing this to tons of different women. This comes from someone else who had a very similar experience to Jordan. So Ben opens with, do you work tomorrow? They say, crazy busy day, but I don't work. And then Ben goes, let's make some content tomorrow. Not like that, but just film a podcast. So he immediately alludes to like, oh, not OnlyFans. I think I could make us a lot of money, straight up. And then she finally does reply saying that she's just been busy taking a mental health day. So he can't even go more than like 3 messages without bringing up OnlyFans. It seems like the only thing on this guy's mind is sex and how he's never getting it, I guess, but is very desperate too and will do it by any means necessary to try and achieve coitus. From everything I can tell, Bintellect has never done any kind of OnlyFans content on his own or like any type of explicit content. He's just a professional TikTok giggler. All he does is giggle at Twitter messages or comments, and that's it. So clearly he's not wanting to dip his toes into OnlyFans for the sake of becoming like an OnlyFans creator. He just wants to have sex with these women. And he's using his podcast as a vessel to try and do that, it seems. After she told him about the mental health day she was taking, he responds with, hey, thank you. And then the following day at 6:52 a.m., so this guy must have been up all night masturbating because it seems like that's the only thing on this dude's mind, he sends her a message saying, do you want to come over tomorrow night? Actually, are you down to come over tonight? Or are you just a flake? Doesn't even give her time to respond, just immediately gets combative. He immediately just goes into fucking ballistic bin mode. So you coming over tonight, or are you just a flake? Huh? Are you just a fucking succubus? Huh? Is that it? Huh? So you coming over tonight? And then he waits only like an hour and 40 after that, and then he's like, you know what? Okay, Jesus Christ. Yeah, sorry, babe, but you're just too much of a flake. Bye. So then obviously she's like alarmed, like what the fuck is going on? So she says, you know, if you wouldn't have texted me so rudely calling me a flake after one day of not texting you, you might have stood a chance. I can see why you're single now. Goodbye. Which really just sends Ben off the rails. Yeah, whatever. Go fuck yourself. Says the girl who's trying to make an OnlyFans. Good luck. Brother, all you talk about is trying to do OnlyFans content with them. It seems like you're trying desperately to get into OnlyFans but keep getting rejected and can't handle it. So how can you have the gall to try and shame them for it when you are desperately trying to do it yourself? Here's a wacky little Snapchat one. Do you want to come over here and spend some time with me? Because on a side note, I do think I could probably make us some money on OnlyFans. Bintellect fucks crazy into oblivion. That's redacted right there, like a CIA document. I really wonder what he said. I think it's Bintellect fucks crazy pussy into oblivion or something. But I'm just going off of what I can see poking out from underneath the redaction. I think that's what it is. But this is so goofy. He's speaking about himself in the third person in this one. And then he even tries bribery. If you come over, I'll give you $1,000. I just really want you. And they respond, I'm good right now. Don't try to bribe me with money. That's weird. And then he's like, no, that is weird. But I want to see you. This one's a lot more vintage bin. So this was a different kind of relationship these two had as opposed to just the podcast OnlyFans hustle he keeps trying to run. So they start by saying, I guess it's just not meant to be. Ben says, facts, no hard feelings, but yeah, it ain't working. So then they part ways, or so it would seem. Ben has a couple of parting words here. He says, for your future self, if you're going to turn around on a guy and say, hey, I'm not down for friends with benefits shit, just say that before you go through all the bullshit. Boring as fuck. Not my problem that you turned around and quit drinking because you're an alcoholic and now pass out at 8 p.m. Fucking peace out, bitch. So Ben really, he went crazy. Ben lost it. This man, he was punching pillows, sending these texts with tears in his eyes, and he got real nasty. They respond to it saying that they're far from an alcoholic, and then Ben just keeps going crazier, saying, no, you're an alcoholic, and you're full of shit. And then he's like, anyway, I'm done. I just had to say that because you're full of shit. They respond saying that they weren't interested in being with Ben, and he should have taken the hint a while ago, but then Ben he goes absolutely berserk again. She says that she's wasting people's time and that she needs to just shut up and go to bed. And then she says, it sounds like you need some anger management help, which is a very fair assessment. I think he desperately needs some assistance with this anger management. And then Ben tries to flip this shit around like, how dare you? Are you kidding me? So he goes, be careful who you say that to, Maria, because there are people who really need help with that. So Ben lets out a gasp. That's super disrespectful to say that to somebody, and also a very basic-ass bitch thing to say. Benjamin, it's a very fair thing to say here. It's not disrespectful. You legitimately need some help. It very much seems like you do. So then he goes, there's a reason you've been single for this many years, and it's because no one wants you, and no one cares about you. You're full of shit. Basic, boring loser. He just goes on, and even has this little monologue here that ends with him saying, God help any guy that you gets involved with that loose pussy because you're just lame. Mic drop ho. This guy just typed out mic drop ho. He just typed that out. He's over 30 years old. I think he's like 34 years old or something like that. I already forgot. This is a 30-something year old man, and he just typed out mic drop ho. To which she responds, I'm sure your TikTok fans will love the way you talk to women when I post these screenshots. And then he's like, you know what? Good luck. I stand by every single word that I just said to you. So, did he stand by every single word that he said? Let's look at his initial apology, which he deleted pretty shortly after posting it, and then also hid replies on. Let's look at his first apology. I've recently been accused of some heinous actions and would like the opportunity to share my disgust at these accusations. I'm a firm believer in the rights and equality of all humans, including women. If that's not the biggest red flag immediately, I don't know what else is. I stand by the rights for all humans, and that does include women. Those creatures. I am including them in that statement because that's the kind of angel I am. It makes it sound like he's drawing a distinction between women and every other human on the planet, like they're a totally separate species that aren't included in humanity. What an absolute incomprehensible weirdo. I grew up in a home with 3 sisters and no brothers, so I learned very early on the importance, power, love, and abilities women have. They deserve to be cherished and uplifted and treated with respect, and that's how I live my life. I do not condone the statements or accusations that have suddenly been hoisted upon me, and I hope to speak to anyone who feels they have been wronged. He's actually going with I have sisters. I can't hate women. I have sisters. No, I have 3 sisters. You guys don't understand. I could never do this to women. Like, you're misunderstanding. These are all baseless accusations. I have 3 sisters. I legitimately cannot be mean to women. And not only do I have 3 sisters, but my mother is also a woman. So you should see how ridiculous these claims are now, knowing this context with my 3 sisters and mother. So that No, wait, is that real, Mac? Anti-aging guru Brian Johnson injected his face with fat and it went wrong. Now he's got handsome Squidward build. I'd been following Brian Johnson for a bit. Hadn't seen anything new from him for like the last month or so. Oh no. He flew a little too close to the sun, it seems. Wait, is that even a real picture? Wait, I don't think this is real. Let me find a non-tabloid place for it. No, I guess it is real. Holy. Wow. That actually looks like when I make goof juice in my Dark Souls playthroughs. What the fuck? He injected his face with fat-derived extracellular matrix. Selfies uploaded this week to his Instagram show his face progressively getting puffier and puffier, resulting in a bizarre and swollen visage straight out of the 2024 horror sci-fi flick The Substance. Not wrong. My biomarkers were improving, but I looked gaunt. People thought I was on the brink of death. That doesn't bode well for the anti-aging protocol and the 600 pills that he takes every 4 hours. But after starting what he called Project Babyface, which involved injecting donor fat, his face began to blow up, and then it got worse and worse until I couldn't even see. It was a severe allergic reaction. In another recent bid to turn back the clock on his body, Johnson underwent a procedure called total plasma exchange. Oh yeah, I remember that. In an alleged attempt to remove all unnatural pollutants from his blood. Some of you have probably seen his work before without realizing who he is. He's the guy who had his son donating his blood and plasma to him so he'd have younger blood and plasma, and then he was donating his blood and plasma to his dad. So he had like this human centipede of blood and plasma from his family tree. His whole thing is like he's spending millions of dollars a year to try and figure out how to de-age. And I've said from the beginning, it's weird, he's wacky, he's creepy, he looks vampiric, but if he actually has any kind of scientific breakthroughs, that's just good for the world. And he's openly publishing all of his findings, so kind of a W. Tough L on this one here, though, with Project Babyface, unfortunately. Got him out of the Oblivion character creator, but I'm sure he'll keep trying. He's just beta testing for the whole world. He's just like a guinea pig for all of it. Click the link that says uploaded this week to see the unfiltered. Oh, okay. Was that edited? Let's see. Oh, wow. So it's not as red. Why even put the filter on there? It's still the same, but at least it's not as red. I don't see the point of the filter. But man, that facial structure. Actual handsome Squidward. He did it. Has anything new even been found through his experiments? I don't think so. I'm not sure. You know, actually, I take that back. If I remember correctly, he himself concluded that taking younger blood and plasma actually doesn't make that much of an impact on like your biomarkers. I'll double check though. I think that was the conclusion because he stopped doing that. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it looks like they haven't done one for a while, so I believe he stopped doing that. But I don't know if there's been like any breakthroughs with his research. He posts like all of it on YouTube. He has a channel. And credit where credit's due, he is in good shape. He's not in like crazy shape, and he likes to tout that he has like the internals of an 18-year-old. Like he is biologically 18 years old or something. He's not. The data that he gets, I don't think necessarily means what he says it means in regards to that. I think he looks at like telomere length or something. Who's allowing this to happen? Are there no laws to prevent these experiments? What would the law be? I mean, he's willing. I think he should be well within his rights to do whatever he wants to himself in his own home. The man is like, he's worth like $600 million. He sold like a tech company, and he's dedicated his life to just researching how to make yourself de-age and be healthier. He's not using unethical experiments on anyone. The only two people I know of that he's ever even done experiments on are his son and his dad, both of which wanted to participate in the experiments. Look at a photo of him from 2015. He looks unrecognizable. I can't remember what he looked like in 2015, but he did have like a substantial change doing this. I don't remember him looking like this though. Yeah, it is like a totally different person. Actually looks like some kind of Detroit Become Human thing. He should really go back to the beard. The beard actually just made him look younger. Probably can't grow one now. No, I'm sure he can. I don't think he like fried his hair follicles or anything with his like daily red light therapy or anything. He aged too far back, he can't. He's biologically a 6-year-old. His facial hair can't come in now. I do find it interesting though. I try and keep up with him, but it has been a little bit. Looks like his face healed though, at least judging by this.
Hi friends, today we're going to talk about the 3 power laws of health. We are going to accomplish in the next 5 minutes the basic health habits that are going to make you feel the best you've ever done. I'm not going to get into the scientific details, I'm just going to tell you what to do, and you're going to do them because you know what? You know they work. Let's start. Number 1, you're going to reframe.
That's some no nonsense right there. He looks way younger. I mean, I guess you could argue he does because his skin looks so much smoother, but he looks more plastic. I wouldn't necessarily say he looks that much younger, but he looks much more plastic. Personally, I think it looks not bad. I don't think he looks terrible or anything. This was a disaster. Looks like it healed though, so didn't really lose anything from it. That's good. That wasn't permanent. But like, I don't think he's in bad shape or anything. Like, he's actually really fit. Here, hold on. He's got the weirdest workout routine though. His workout routine is so odd. Like, it's... I haven't seen this kind of training. He does like 55 reps every 30 seconds, or it's unhinged, but he is in good shape. He's like almost 50. He's fit. He looks synthetic. Cardio even when weightlifting. Yeah. And he does some very odd movements. There's a YouTuber that worked out with him. I can't remember who it was now. Actually, I think a few YouTubers have done it. Oh, wait, here. Magnus did one. Oh, Will. It was Will. That was the one where you get to see like his whole routine.
Crave a donut.
And here's his... These are his pills that he takes every day. Man has like 60 pills for breakfast and another 60 pills before bed. And bedtime, I think, is 8 p.m. Powers off. Thanks, membership, Durf.
How do you operate this machine?
And then 15 of these.
You got the energy of like a newborn puppy.
That's for abs. But he's always doing cardio with weightlifting, you're right. But I mean, yeah, like I said, he's in good shape.
Like when you read a bunch of the articles about you.
I don't think he looks like bad or anything. It's just very off-putting. It's just very odd. And I think it's good that he's doing this. He wants to do it and he's just publishing it all for free. Let him. Fuck it, man. I got no problems with it. It's terrible if he's not experiencing life. His life is dedicated to this research, man. Everyone's got a purpose, and for him, that's it. So to him, he is, like, living to the fullest. You should buy one of his true age tests to see how old your body is at the cellular level. How much are they? That's actually not a bad idea. We should do that. We should do that at the warehouse. See who is cellularly the youngest out of our group. So the decode your DNA. This one, right? It's this one, I'm pretty sure. The True Diagnostic Epigenetic Company. Decode your DNA. That actually could be fun. I'm gonna send this to my friends. Hey guys, want to test our DNA? We've already done that. Well, kind of. We tested our testosterone. And we're doing a fertility test pretty soon. See who's got the most potent seed. So I think that probably won't be an issue, doing a little true age cellular test. Probably just gonna be like a mouth swab or something. Let chat do a guess poll on who has the most. For potency? That's not a bad idea. Yeah, we could do that. Once we get the kits, though. I'll wait till we get the kits, then we can do a little chat poll. Thanks, Risa Bagadina. Membership Anonymous. I've just got a sneaking suspicion, though, when we do the fertility test, one of us is going to be sterile, and it's going to be devastating. It's going to make the video so much more uncomfortable. I just have a feeling. Just a hunch. It'll probably be me, too, because growing up, I used to just play City of Heroes on my laptop. Well, it was my parents' laptop. And I just set it on my lap for fucking hours in front of the TV, just letting that fry my sack. I probably burnt all of that to a crisp. Maybe you created something new. Oh, I supercharged my seed? Perhaps. Who is the biggest joke in all of sports? Some people might argue the Washington Generals, which is the team that the Harlem Globetrotters always play against. They travel together and the Harlem Globetrotters always win against them because the Generals are just there to have fun with the Globetrotters in order to make a spectacle out of the whole thing. They're kind of designed to lose. But they're not the biggest joke in sports. That honor belongs to one man in particular. His name is Dillon Danis. This goofball is someone you might have heard of because he's that coward that started a lot of shit with KSI, and then the second that it reached the fuck around and find out moment, like a week before they were actually supposed to fight, Dillon Danis backs out and weasels his way out of it, coming up with all kinds of pathetic little excuses, and then still tries to act tough. He's a washed up fighter who all he does now is just shit talk and then promotes scams on Twitter. People have more respect for the flies that hover around public porta potties at a fucking music festival than they do this man and his career. And yet somehow he finds a way to sink even lower. He was recently the primary clown in CoffeeZilla's newest video, where he got used like a fleshlight by CoffeeZilla in order to prove a point that Dillon Danis will promote absolutely anything at all as long as you pay him. And it turns out you don't even really have to pay him that much, all things considered. Just giving him a pack of cigarettes will get you like a 24-hour tweet promoting whatever vile scam you want. Like, it's actually pretty wild. So CoffeeZilla's video exposes at least 20 scams that he's done in his past, as well as convincing him to do yet another one. You know, hop back in the saddle, get ready for the rodeo, and engage in another scam tweet that CoffeeZilla cooked up with a completely fake crypto project. And he wanted to see how much does Dillon charge, and does he do any amount of research at all into the things that he proudly posts on his Twitter? I know Dillon Danis can't even spell research, so the answer isn't shocking. It's a no. He didn't bother looking into what CoffeeZilla was paying him to promote at all, because if he did, if he spent even 3 seconds, or even just like an iota of a thought given to the project, he would have immediately realized that it's not real and it is a scam that he's about to post proudly on his Twitter. Because CoffeeZilla laid it all out in front of him. And it's not even like it was hidden in plain sight or anything. He literally spelled it out, word for word. In a contract he sent to Dillon Danis, it even says that it's not real and you're going to be the butt of a joke. It was literally, it was just there in the contract. And it wasn't even a long contract, like buried in fine print. It was like a core piece of the contract that just says, this is basically a fucking scam. And Dillon still signed it. It's baffling. So I'm getting ahead of myself here. I'm just trying to give a general breakdown of the situation. Of course, the full CoffeeZilla video is going to be linked in the description. It's fucking beautiful per usual. I'm just going to show you some clips from it. But one other thing I want to point out is the reason CoffeeZilla went after Dillon Danis is because Dillon made a whole song and dance, a big hoopla about how bad he feels for everyone that got scammed by Logan Paul's Crypto Zoo. And that's what tipped everyone off to how many scams he himself has done, which led to this investigation in this video by CoffeeZilla, Oompaville, and Zach XBT. And it's a fucking amazing ride. It really is.
Dillon Danis is an MMA fighter famous for two things: cage fighting and not fighting KSI.
True.
But on December 23rd, he decided to be famous.
Also, apparently, I didn't know this until recently. He's not even famous for actually fighting. He's famous for just being a guy that, like, kind of rides Conor McGregor's dick. What's his actual fighting record? Because I said the same thing. I'm like, yeah, he actually fights. But his actual MMA record is 2-0. He has fought 2 times. Once in 2018 and once in 2019. Look at this shit. So he's not really a fighter. he's fought twice. Like, his whole claim to fame is, yeah, I'm a fucking stupid asshole. And that's it. And he won't even fight a YouTuber. 100% win rate, that is true. He is undefeated. But then again, so am I in MMA, to be fair. I am also undefeated. It's kind of meaningless when you don't have a whole lot of fights under your belt.
Calling out the scammers. He writes in a tweet, "Damn, Logan Paul is a scumbag. Feel bad for everyone he scammed." Now, of
Thanks,
course,
Dillon.
I was going to really disagree with this, so the likes rolled in. But what Dillon doesn't
What a
tell you
saint.
is he also has a history of scamming people on Twitter. And what Dillon didn't know is that there was a detective watching him. That detective was not me, actually. I wish it was me. It was my buddy Zach XBT on Twitter who said, "Damn, Dillon Danis is a scumbag.
Hey, this is all coming full circle. You might remember Zach from the BitBoy crypto thing. He was the guy that, like, tracked all of his moonshots and, like, called out a whole bunch of shit there.
So I reached back out to Zach and I said, hey, good tweet, but I want to find out how many scams exactly this guy has promoted. So Zach started digging through the garbage bin of deleted tweets, and we found out pretty quick there were a lot more.
What the fuck is it? Baby Dinger? What the fuck? Baby Dinger token is the next Shiba Inu. Oh man, if anyone has any baby dingers, you should immediately just lose the right to earn money in your life. You don't deserve it anymore. Ring Dinger. Hey, let's not besmirch the good name of the Ring Dinger. That's as far from Web3 crypto as you get. That is literally an old man who snaps your head off.
I wanted to trick Dylan into giving me the amount. The rough idea was to approach Dylan and say, hey, I created this dumb NFT project that's completely fake. How much would it cost for you to promote it? He gives me an answer and I have my price. Who looked like he would be serious about selling you an NFT collection. And that's when I thought of my buddy Oompaville.
Yes.
He's a guy who's actually really sweet in real life.
I did know Oompaville played a big role in this here. So that is exciting. Very smart. CoffeeZilla recognized that Dylan would certainly say no, knowing for sure that it's a honeypot if it was CoffeeZilla that reached out. So he used Oompaville, whom, I mean, that looks like a well-adjusted man to me. Like, that's a trustworthy face right there. So he used him as the proxy. That's genius.
We can provide all the marketing copy. Please let me know, as we're trying to launch relatively soon. That website is not a real crypto NFT platform. Nothing in this video is a crypto or real NFT, so you cannot buy crypto. I want to be super clear, because Dylan immediately responds with, want to do a tweet? And then I love this next part. What is it? I like the order of that, let's promote it. And then underneath it, what am I promoting? And it's at this point I realized
it's secondary.
This is not only my chance to find out how much Dylan gets paid for all these scam promotions, it's also my chance to test Dylan Dennis. In fact, to do this, I basically copied almost word for word CryptoZoo's white paper, saying the following. Baby. Sour.gg may appear to solely function as an NFT collection, but it's much, much more. Sour allows users to earn sweet tokens that are openly traded via a yield that is based on the rarity of a given candy NFT.
I'm going to tell you right now, Coffee, I love the attention to detail here. I think that is super smart. I'm not convinced Dylan Dennis can read. I think he might be illiterate. So he just saw words on the page and he's like, man, this is legit. All these words, they have meaning, I have no doubt. I'm in. I am confident he had no fucking clue what anything in that white paper said. But I appreciate you went the extra mile and set it up that way for it.
Look out, adventurer. Now this is a sentence which means nothing unless you lay it out by the first letter of every word. And then it spells CoffeeZilla.
Oh.
So, don't say I didn't warn him. And obviously,
that's way too smart for Dylan.
Dylan Dennis surely wouldn't promote a CryptoZoo project, right? Because he feels too bad for the victim. And then ETH? ? And at this point, I'm just a little surprised by how easy this all is. Zero due diligence
I'm not surprised at all.
Here. We have created the weakest facade possible for an NFT scam, and he's just immediately on board. After we settled on that, he sent me payment information.
I am shocked he can even get 5K for a tweet. His Twitter isn't exactly what you'd call booming. The only time he gets engagement is when people are laughing at him. Like here, let me go to his Twitter real quick. Let's see, what's his most recent tweet? Because he deleted this one, I remember that. His most recent one is, if Alexander Volkanovsky beats... okay, it's a fight. I'll give one person who likes this tweet $1,500 and must be following to win. So he's actually having to do he has to farm. He has to do giveaway farming. But before that, it's literally nothing. And he got 8K likes on the farm. So even by those standards, that's pretty low. So I'm shocked that he's actually asking 5K. Though I doubt many people are actually giving it to him.
Dylan gave us a brand new crypto wallet just for this transaction.
Whoa!
Which seems to imply that he probably makes new wallets for every new deal he does, which is
definitely not his own idea.
And at this point, I realized I had a choice to make.
Someone told him to do that.
Take what I learned, present it to you guys, and stop this little charade I had with Dylan and make my video. And Dylan would just keep doing this because his fans wouldn't know.
Wait, what was that last one? Was that Was that Face Riders? What the fuck? Did I read that correctly? Right before Baby Dinger.
And Dylan would just keep doing this.
Oh, I'm writing with Faceless. Gotcha. I thought that said Face Riders. I was like, damn, another fucking wild one.
Because his fans wouldn't know. Which is actually pay Dylan to post a link to our fake NFT project. But the twist would be, as soon as he posts that link, it will become a website dedicated to every scam tweet Dylan Danis has ever done. And remember that this website would be linked by Dylan Danis himself to all of his fans until he kept the tweet for certain periods of time. And to my surprise, he agreed to the terms. And
that's smart. That's super smart. Yeah, so space it out so that way you can get the most juice for the squeeze here off the tweet staying live. I can also promise you Dylan Danis has no idea what any of these words he's using here mean. He's used too much punctuation. There's 2 periods in there. That's far more than his reading level permits. He's got a percentage sign in there, some underlines, parentheses. Dylan Danis tapped out once he saw payment structure. He's like, all right, payment. I know that one. Okay, whatever else.
Website, which is just a website with all his previous transgressions. Now, I did talk to
I want to read that one. What was that? I'm bullish on what? These all have the worst names. I'm bullish on Rock Smart Chain. Rocket Raccoon. Hype.
From ZachXBT. He found over 20 projects that Dylan promoted and then tried deleting, where many of them were rug pulls and scams. It was at this point
is I drew up a contract for Dylan to sign before this whole thing goes live.
He didn't read it.
And in it, I lay the whole thing out. And this is what I meant by headwinds. This is where he probably will catch us. Because in black and white, I lay out our whole scheme right in front of him. So it literally says, like, you're going to be the butt of the joke. It says people aren't doing due diligence. It says that we're going to be switching the website to show his prior promotions. So we lay out the whole thing there.
Oh, no.
What we're really banking on is he's not going to read any of this. He's just going to see money and just sign it, which is the 100% whole point of this entire
thing. He can't read it.
I think it fits.
Sending it. All right. And then I'm sending the drive link.
I mean, we've sent the contract now. We're just waiting. We're literally waiting.
Yeah. He's going to instantly respond with the sign. It's going to be less than 2 minutes.
Oh, I agree, bro. I agree.
It was 3 minutes. I was so fucking close. I was
agree, bro. I agree.
It was 3 minutes. I was so fucking close. I was so close.
Idiot. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. He agreed.
I was so
and
close.
You might notice that we weren't actually able to use DocuSign and get his signature because it was experiencing outages at the moment, the actual website. But we were able to just have him do a written agreement in DMs that he agreed to our terms. And although
that is real, by the way, if you get in writing something like that, that is actually an enforceable thing. It's not as strong as like a full signature, but that is like actually enforceable. So, what a fucking moron. Holy shit.
Go ahead and tweet.
Just refreshing now, I guess. See what he says.
Run it.
So much work that goes into this. You guys didn't see this off camera. Dylan starts talking about where's your community. So we have to whip up this community from nowhere.
Oh, fuck.
Our community doesn't exist. We had to create a Twitter profile. We had to buy a bunch of botted followers.
An hour ago, it didn't exist.
I don't think I've ever been so excited about something in my life.
Nice.
Dude.
What was the total spend on this, I imagine?
He tweeted it.
Huge.
I can't believe he did it.
He actually did it. He just tweeted it.
What an idiot. What? I can't believe it. What can I say?
So I knew this tidbit of information real quick before he points it out. The actual tweet just has the word scam in it. Sour NFT candies are moonbound. Scam.
Believe it.
It's so adorable.
What can I say?
They couldn't have made it any more clear.
Which literally spells out in first letters the word scam.
Yep.
I hope this is...
Oh man, Dylan. Now he's ducking.
Scam.
Yep.
I hope this is...
Oh man, Dylan. Now he's ducking CoffeeZilla and Oompaville's attempt to communicate just like he ducked KSI's fight. God damn. It's all he knows. Yeah, he'll never mention this, unfortunately. That's his modus operandi. He just is a fucking perpetual loser, I guess. Oh, I did see that. There was a lot of brain rot takes about how what CoffeeZilla did is actual entrapment. And I'm pretty sure those people are just as CTE riddled as Dylan Dennis to think that what CoffeeZilla did is anything even remotely associated with entrapment. It's not even close. CoffeeZilla did everything possible to let Dylan know what was going on. He even put in the fucking contract he agreed to that it is literally him just being a joke. It's not real. He laid out everything, and he still agreed to it. That couldn't be further from entrapment. The guy got 1K. He did get 1K. He did get $1,000 out of it, so that's a Dylan W, baby. Fucking big one from Dylan! But also lost rep. He had none to begin with. I legitimately don't think Dylan Dennis has a single fan. Like, actually not a single one. People just laugh at him. In fact, if you go to his goddamn giveaway tweet right now, people aren't even participating in the actual giveaway. They're just spamming the clown emoji. Jesus Christ. He can't even, like, actively farm children on Twitter. He doesn't have fans. Oh yeah, you know what time it is. It's time to roll on out of bed, get a good stretch, get some cereal in your system, sit down and see the latest in the Logan Paul CryptoZoo scam situation. I don't think there's any need for a Dragon Ball Z recap of what's happened up till this point. I think we all know, but I'll give you the briefest rundown. YouTuber CoffeeZilla exposed Logan Paul for a massive crypto scam he was running, telling the story of many victims who lost tons and tons of money on it. A lot of information came out about exactly how horrible this situation was. Logan Paul hiring literal criminals to run it with him who stole $7.7 million. And after CoffeeZilla released this series of investigative videos, Logan Paul responded with threats against CoffeeZilla, talking about taking him to court. He then made a podcast episode doubling down on everything he was saying. He never defended himself. He didn't attack any of the claims. He didn't provide any evidence to prove that he's innocent. He just kind of kicked in the door, walked up like the Undertaker. He's like, CoffeeZilla, he's a sham. He's a little man. And just like a little man does, he does little man things. And I'm a big boy, I'm Logan Paul. So fuck that guy. And and that's it. Like, that's his whole thing. He just kept attacking CoffeeZilla's character without ever even addressing the evidence that he provided. So obviously the first two responses didn't go over well with anyone at all. Not a single soul on this planet. So after that happened, he released a third apology video where the attitude was very different. He was singing a completely different tune. He backpedaled on everything he said about CoffeeZilla, even thanked him for the investigation, said he's dropping the lawsuit, which is probably the smartest thing he's ever decided to do because his face would have been used as toilet paper to wipe everyone's ass in court if he actually went through with that defamation case idea. But anyway, after the apology video was posted by Logan, CoffeeZilla responded to it last night, going over some of the things that he talked about that are good, that are actually helping some victims that were affected by the scam, but also some things that really fell flat. So I think it's a very interesting breakdown, and I think it's a very fitting conclusion, and I still hope that more is done to help the victims of his massive scam, but this is definitely a step in the right direction. The gift that just keeps on giving. So this is the follow-up to everything. Logan Paul made his big statement talking about like that $1.3 million. Well, you know what? I'm sure CoffeeZilla will cover all of it here.
Well, it's finally over. Logan Paul apologized.
CoffeeZilla, your slang.
And we all forgave him.
A lopsided journalist with an...
Turns out it's actually on his secondary channel. That's why I couldn't find it. It's entitled, Thank You, CoffeeZilla. It's the third response from Logan Paul.
I love this intro. CoffeeZilla's coming out here with the fangs out. He's got his claws drawn. Yeah, I mean, third time's the charm, though, for Logan. He really nailed it on this one. He's a saint again, back in our good graces. I bought 5 bottles of Prime just to celebrate. He's a new man.
CoffeeZilla is not a criminal.
Oh, that's a relief. I thought Logan was going to hire me. But in all seriousness, this video does have some major admissions in it I want to go through. For
banger.
One, Logan
Actual
apologizes
banger.
to me.
I called him. I apologized. My initial response to his series was that of fire and ego.
Not only that, Logan also pledges a $1.3 million refund plan for people who bought his NFTs. In addition to that, he also promises to finish CryptoZoo, which was left abandoned.
And then
he should just hire that YouTuber that did it in 4 hours. Call it a day, just I paid this YouTuber an exposure to finish my crypto scam for me so I can continue to make more money off of this.
For example, I think if you're an outsider who is not affected by this scam and you wanted a reason to love Logan Paul again, I think this nails it. I mean,
that was one of the main things I said when he posted that. If you weren't affected by the scam, you don't know anyone that was affected by the scam, him posting this makes it very easy for you to be a fan again, kind of guilt-free. Like, oh, okay, so some people got scammed, but look at how well he handled himself in this third apology video. So we can just move on past this. I'm not offended anymore, so I don't care if you guys are. I've forgiven him for you guys, so we're good.
Flat, because he doesn't adequately address the real victims of CryptoZoo, which I think they're rightfully angry about. And I wanted to spend some time talking about that because, again, they've been the heartbeat of this whole story, and they feel very differently about this response than Logan's core audience does.
Yeah,
they don't feel
that sounds about right.
And I want to talk about why. Starting with the $1.3 million repayment plan. It doesn't even apply to the holder of Zoo coins at all. You get nothing if you bought this in-game currency. This refund only applies to current egg holders. So they can cash out that NFT for the initial mint price in crypto, which matters sort of because crypto has crashed a lot. So even though people...
Just to slide on in between your butt cheeks here, I'd like to further clarify on the repayment plan. It is good that there is something that victims can tap into to get some money back, but it's not all of it. It's not every victim, and it's actually only in specific cases for people that were affected by this. So with this $1.3 million repayment plan, it covers some losses for some people, but not all of it. And since crypto has crashed, the value of all of it's very different now. So people aren't going to be made whole, but at least it's something going back to some of the victims, which rarely happens in cases like this where a giant scam comes crumbling down. 9 times out of 10, it just results in the scammer being like, you entered the poop zone, you should have expected to get a little shitty. You know, and they just move on and just never talk about it again. So at least there is something coming back, but of course, it's not all of it.
The Zoo coins were most of this scam. I mean, that's where most of the money was spent. It wasn't just on the NFTs. It was on this in-game currency, which Logan seems to have is pretty bad. He responds to somebody who lost $80,000 who told him, I hope this isn't just doing what you have to do technically to not get sued.
Oh, goodness gracious. Jinkies. 80K in Zoo shitties? Oh, Ruben. Oh, that is painful. Oh, goodness.
Logan replies with a screenshot of his white paper and later explains to...
Wait, hold on. Let me read that. Replying with just a picture from your terms of service or whatever is always just such a douchey thing. Because Zoo was created to support CryptoZoo and was not intended to be an investment vehicle, the contract doesn't include incentives for liquidity providing, although the largest... and then cuts off. Okay, so it's just, eat shit, loser. Should have read.
Paper, and later explains to another member of the Discord, I believe there has been a misconception here. As outlined in the white paper, Zoo was created to support CryptoZoo and was not intended to be an investment vehicle. When you sold or bought is not my decision. And look, to be fair to him, there was a misconception that Zoo was an investment vehicle, but it's a misconception that he created.
And he's also not wrong. You shouldn't have bought in the first place. Like, I don't know what drew you to it to begin with. You must really love a picture of eggs and a picture of some animals. Like, he is not wrong. He wasn't the one that forced you to buy in and waste 80,000 doubloons on it. But very douchey, considering you were the one that scammed him and got him to bite into it.
Based strictly on the value of said investment vehicle. Quote, rules for selling.
Market manipulation.
$200 million market cap. So I think it's fair to say, if Logan's own team were buying Zoo coins early, waiting for them to go up in value to a certain level and then selling them, that sounds like an investment vehicle, albeit a very stupid one. The quote, abandoned. Will everyone who minted be able to get that refund or just the current owners? Now, in reply to this, someone in the Discord said, if you sell, you lose common investing knowledge.
Or if you invest in CryptoZoo, you lose common sense knowledge. But I mean, again, that is a cold hard fact that he just dropped onto the table. He slapped his meat down and said, if you bought into this, you sold, you lost. He is correct. But it is still, once again, Logan's fault because he peddled a non-functional scam that was abandoned for a fucking year and a half.
And Logan replies, seeming to agree with this idea. In another Discord exchange, Logan says, please do not put any more money into CryptoZoo, which, by the way, is quite reasonable to say.
Yeah,
but then somebody follows up and says, guys, can someone explain what he said with not investing? But rather than replying, oh, guys, I just meant like I don't want anyone else losing money, or, you know, I don't want anyone else recklessly gambling, Logan replies instead, quote, I will no longer be the scapegoat for anyone's financial decision.
Woe is me. Oh, man, I'm so tired of being the scapegoat for my scam. Damn. The Matrix is out to get me here, and I'm tired of it. No more of this. It's your fault that you fell for my scam, idiots.
He doesn't seem to see anything wrong with advertising a game that will make you money, it never delivering, millions of dollars being stolen by criminals he hired. And then when all of those people want their money back, he feels like he's the scapegoat. Like, oh, these guys shouldn't have believed me when I advertised to them a fun game that will make you money.
True.
It just doesn't make any sense.
How could these fools have played into my trap when it was so obvious that it was a fake garbage scam to begin with? Why should I feel empathy for these plebeians? I hired 3 criminals to run this and they stole from me. I'm the victim, not these pores that put money into my shit. So why should I be bothered to help them? Fuck you guys.
I mean, Logan had a simple job to do. All he had to do was just come out, apologize, get as much money back for the victims as possible. But he himself can't help but play the victim here. In fact, I have a third example of how Logan might really feel, because Logan tweeted right before his response. He says, quote,
shit was
the
awesome.
Matrix is real. Pray you never become its target. Now, I guess he's trying to channel Andrew Tate here unsuccessfully, basically saying like,
Andrew Tate even fucking dunked on him for it.
Not because I did anything wrong or scammed anyone. I'm just too much of a truth teller. I'm just an enemy of the system.
Yeah,
that's why I must
he revealed too much.
But if that's the case, we then have to wonder, who's the Matrix though, Logan? Like, is it your fans who got robbed? Who are the agents coming after you? I know it's not me.
So I'll explain it. Logan, with his back against the wall, does what he does best. He tries to parrot literally anyone else's belief. All he did was grift into something that he thought might be able to earn him some points to get out of it, so he went with the Matrix angle because it's such a hot button thing with Tate and all that. What he failed to realize is that literally no one is on his side, so that became even more of a goofy, delusional attempt at saving face. The guy scammed, point blank, hired 3 criminals, which he himself admits, and he still had the gall, the chutzpah, to try the Matrix angle, which even summoned the Matrix man himself, Andrew Tate, to shit on him for it publicly, further burying Logan's head in his ass. It's such a poetic disaster of PR. He couldn't make a good move. I actually still do believe Logan Paul doesn't have any thoughts of his own. I don't actually think he believes anything in his own mind. He just tries to pander. And he chooses any position that is the easiest and most potentially safe position to take.
I didn't want to release it at the time because I thought there was a better chance at getting a good ending for the victims here if I was a bit more diplomatic with Logan at this critical juncture when he was deciding whether he was going to give money back or not.
At the end of the day, the whole purpose behind this entire thing was telling the victim's story, so anything that could result in them getting their money back is the optimal outcome. That'd be a mission accomplished.
Which, by the way, I think some of them are. In fact, I just saw a lawyer on YouTube, Attorney Tom. He's going to start the legal process going after Logan using stuff like the arbitration clause in their terms of service. So I just wanted to say, if you're a victim of CryptoZoo, it's your support that made all the difference and got the victims at least something. So that wraps it up. Thank you for watching.
Imagine Logan comes out and just like, you know what? Fuck you guys. You didn't suck my dick hard enough for my benevolent actions here. I am going to sue CoffeeZilla. Fuck you. I feel like it'll happen. It won't. He knows there's no shot he can do that. he would lose even more should he decide to, for some reason, reignite the lawsuit. Just a bullying tactic he never intended to sue. Well, the tactic isn't the threat of a lawsuit. The bullying tactic is when people like that have a lot of money, they can take it to the next step and cost you money to defend yourself. That's the bullying. It's financial bullying through the lawsuit. So him just saying, I'm going to sue you, well, it doesn't really do anything. Now you just look like a weak bitch. You didn't. The tactic that's been used by other YouTubers like BritBoy is, I'm suing you, and then you take it to the next level where you actually do start putting in the paperwork. So then it adds not only a financial burden with getting a lawyer to represent you, which costs money, it then takes a mental toll because of the stress of having to defend yourself legally against someone like that. So that's where the actual bullying is. Or BitBoy Crypto. Sorry, not BritBoy. my bad. That's where that comes in. Oh, Carl is another great example. Billy Mitchell going after Carl. That's another example of that same tactic that's being used. Yeah, Billy Mitchell is notorious for using that. It's finally here. A response more hyped up than the Avatar sequel. Logan Paul is addressing the massive 3-part investigation conducted by CoffeeZilla, exposing CryptoZoo as a potential scam. Logan Paul was not too happy about that nomenclature, so he made a video pretty much doubling down on everything about CryptoZoo never being a scam, while admitting to hiring criminals for the team and trying to poke holes in CoffeeZilla's credibility, but without ever providing evidence for why CoffeeZilla is no longer credible. It's not the best response, but it was enough to win over a lot of people's trust somehow, even though Logan Paul never actually addresses any of Coffee's claims with the evidence Coffee provides. Instead, he fixates on a couple of small things, none of which actually contribute to disproving anything from CoffeeZilla's video series or his year-long investigation, and instead just kind of serves to assassinate CoffeeZilla's character, and then throws the condom on the floor and says he's taken CoffeeZilla to court. I'll see you in court, bub. He makes it clear that he will be pursuing legal action against Coffee for this investigation, so overall, very curious to see how this all plays out from here. I'm going to show you his response video as well as me going over it, because like I said, he never actually addresses any of the evidence-backed claims that CoffeeZilla provides from his investigation. He doesn't do anything to prove his innocence. All he does is talk about, CryptoZoo's coming. I'll make sure of it. What's he gonna give us? Well, so far it looks like he's given us just barely enough nutrients to survive. Like, I'm still hungry. CoffeeZilla released a 3-part series on an investigation that spanned the course of a year. Logan Paul gave us a 7-minute appetizer that he's trying to serve us as the entree. Like, come on, there's no meat on these bones here. Let's ride.
CoffeeZilla. I watched your 3-part series called Investigating Logan Paul's Biggest Scam, and like many on this platform, you have successfully used my name for views and money. While you're
I immediately already hate that start. CoffeeZilla's entire brand is all about exposing scams in the space. You yourself commended him for his work ethic and his, like, actual great content. And you have immediately wiped your ass with that phony statement. What an awful start. We are 7 seconds into this and it's already a terrible start. You've already exposed yourself for one lie already. You called yourself a fan and how Steven always gets it right. Until now. And now all of a sudden it's all about views because of your name. Yucky.
For views and money. While your work used to be impartial, your addiction to clicks has clouded your judgment and you've made very real errors with very real repercussions. Coffee, you took a shot at my reputation. So in this video today, I'm going to be defending myself with facts, something that you have gotten in the habit of twisting as you continue to morph from an investigator to a gossip channel. You see?
Interesting. Because he gets like the whole story even from the people he's exposing. He directly talked to like Amio Talio for Paradox Metaverse and stuff. I am curious which ones he's referring to. That's a bold statement. Do you have anything to back that up, Logan? Is that in here somewhere? Spoiler alert, no. This is just a plot thread with no closure here. He says that he's been making very real errors as he's morphed into more of a gossip channel, yet provides nothing to substantiate that claim. No evidence. He just says, he's getting things wrong now. Source? I made it the fuck up. Trust me, bro. That's the source. Like, that is laughable. You can't state that. You can't make that claim and have nothing to back it up. Besides this situation, which you're claiming is wrong, what else? You're saying that now, as he's gotten more popular, he's no longer impartial. He's more of a gossip channel that's completely fine with getting facts wrong. Can you show me something that proves that statement from you? You didn't. Do you have anything, or are you just pulling it out of your asshole?
You see, CoffeeZilla tried to work with law enforcement in the past, but his work was described as not anchored to truth and often speculative. He is a lopsided journalist with an agenda, and he's nothing more than the Keemstar of crypto and finance. But as opposed to just telling you, I'm going to show you some of the core discrepancies that I caught.
Oh, that's such a big claim. Whoa, the legendary double fist into the butthole of wild claims with no evidence, huh, Logan? A bold maneuver. Now he says that he tried to work with law enforcement but was often deemed not anchored in truth, or the work was speculative. Do you have anything to back that up anywhere? You making that statement piqued my interest, and I feel like I did more investigative work on me just being curious than you did for your whole response video, because I reached out to CoffeeZilla and talked about some of the claims here, and CoffeeZilla was as confused as everyone else when you talked about this one, about wanting to work with law enforcement. According to CoffeeZilla, he's never wanted to work with law enforcement, never has tried to, and in fact the only time he's ever had any communication with law enforcement is when they approached him to hand over some of his evidence on a case. So I don't know where the fuck this is coming from.
Code fled to Switzerland and held it hostage for $1 million. Well, his name is Zach Kelling. Surely, as the internet detective that you proclaim to be, you would know that he spent time in prison for multiple felonies, one for aggravated robbery, armed robbery at a liquor store, and the other for...
Sounds like a good member of the Crypto Zoo team.
...the legal process. I can see why you kept him anonymous.
Who we'll be calling Z here.
I guess, among many things, had not only an agenda, but a fondness for orange jumpsuits.
Why is he on your team? In fact, him omitting that detail makes you look a little more competent. Now that I know you hired a fucking criminal to work on the project, I have even less faith in you to make good choices. This doesn't discredit anything. At all, actually. This just makes you look worse.
Or did you just hear what you wanted to hear and moved on? Because even if you're lying to yourself, Steven, you still have to believe it. And I know what you're thinking. What type of idiot would work with an unsavory individual?
That is what I was thinking.
I guess that's what I get for trusting the team that I relied on to vet and manage Eddie's hiring process, who has turned out to be a professional con man that I have since learned fooled billionaires, the Mormon Church, the owner of the New York Yankees, and...
Hey, who'd you learn that from, Logan? Which source did you learn that information from? Surely it wasn't Steven, since you're talking about how untruthful and how often speculative and wrong it is, so surely you didn't learn that information from Steven, right, Logan?
Invest in a cryptocurrency, was allegedly responsible for 2 rug pulls before you interviewed him. So either you missed that or you knew it and failed to let the public know. Why? Because it was a clear sign that he was also untrustworthy. You seemed 1 second of research would prove that to be false, as you can definitely hatch eggs and even breed your animals.
Click on that. Oh, we got a duck.
And as you pointed out in your fine print, cross-hatching was available on ETH at one point, but you perpetuated the opposite as truth with your chest out.
Basically, nothing worked.
And by the way, Guy, almost all NFTs are just pictures.
No, it's just a picture.
And surely is...
So the project sucks. So it's nothing new like you proposed. It is just, again, JPEG on JPEG, and that's it. It's not a game. You're right, NFTs are all worthless pictures, but you were proposing a game. In fact, your friend was like, oh, you're not even talking about this like a project. This is like a game. And your exact words was, it's a game. It's a really, really fun game. But now you're just here saying, it's just pictures. Which is the point everyone was making. It's not a game. It's more just NFT JPEGs that are just stock images. You're contradicting your own sales pitch. So I don't know about this guy. This guy could very well be super untrustworthy. I'll take Logan's word for it here. These were interviews with alleged victims of the rug pull. Now, even if this guy, and I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt here, even if this guy is a very shady character, he could have still been scammed. It's not mutually exclusive, because he's not the only one. So among the thousands upon thousands of people you scammed, one of them happens to be a douchebag scammer as well. That doesn't discredit the whole point, though. There was like 12 other people he interviewed as well, but even the non-interviewed people, there were tons of victims. Coffee used him as a spokesperson. No, he had like 12 other people there. And he just had his testimonial as part of it.
Right? So why have you allowed the illegal recording of Jeff's phone call without his permission? And then more like an internet criminal, post it online.
And it was interesting. It was like,
Crypto King Jake stole $6 million. True or not, we had already removed him from the team when we realized Conman Eddie, lead developer, stole $1.7 million. True or not, when we learned he was a bad actor as well, while myself and Jeff sold nothing and made nothing as verified through investigation and the blockchain.
Jeff, Logan's manager, to my knowledge, never sold. Neither did Logan Paul.
I repeat, and illegal. I suggest you use the money you got from pumping your Patreon to hire a good lawyer. You're gonna need it. And maybe we could have...
he's throwing it down! I guess to piggyback off that, why didn't you update the community on the project? Why didn't you talk to the community that brought all of this to light, who felt scammed for the last year and has lost tons and tons and tons of money on it? Why have you only ever sent 3 Discord messages, one of them right before posting this video? This is very easy to continue going back and forth with the finger pointing. If it's not a scam and you really are working on it, why the complete radio silence with your community? And even if he was, you can still say, hey, we're going through legal trouble, but we're still working on the game. We're not a scam. We're working on it. And what about the handmade asset, or the handmade art, which was proven to be stock photos? Is he going to address that? This is just too short to address all of the actual evidence that CoffeeZilla submitted.
Talked about this. If you had reached out to me personally, not my manager Jeff, who is not me, Steven, but the first time you did was on Christmas Eve after you released your series, so you could rely on false statements and unreliable people used recklessly. That's fine. You've denied my invitation multiple times. You're still invited. It can be a one-on-one. If not, we're going to handle this ourselves while we continue to build CryptoZoo, and I'll see you in court.
Amen. Damn, that was big. 7 minutes of fury, but not a whole lot of evidence on specific claims, just more broader things. So you hired 2 criminals because you didn't do any amount of background research. Why is there faith in CryptoZoo? Why should there be going forward? How about here? It's coming. How? Have you replaced the 2 criminals? But yeah, he did just he posted in the Discord for the first time in a year right before releasing that. So he has 3 messages in the Discord. One of them was yo, and then the other one was I'm drunk, or I'm sober right now. So he hasn't really been keeping the community up to date with what's going on, which is why for a year now everyone's felt like they've been scammed. 0 apologies, 0 addressing victims, and 0 accountability. Logan accuses me of not reaching out to him directly until December 24th, but doesn't mention I reached out over a year ago prior on Instagram. Not the optimal platform to get a response, but I also don't know how you're supposed to get in touch with someone like Logan Paul either if it's not through his manager. There's no direct means of communication that I know of. It was only after a year of not getting a response that he began calling his manager for answers about CryptoZoo and got comically stupid responses. So now you're admitting like you just didn't see it. Which, I mean, it's through Instagram. It's not optimal, but like, it's not hard to believe that he wouldn't know how to get in contact directly with you if it's not through your manager. That's the whole point of a manager. He could have used Twitter. He's blocked on Twitter. Logan blocked him. Plus, Logan Paul's DMs are closed. I can't DM Logan Paul. No, I don't expect you to see every DM, which is why I reached out to your manager and explicitly said I was trying to reach you because I hadn't gotten a response. I mean, them's the receipts. I mean, yeah, Jeff read it. So, oof. What kind of people is Logan Paul hiring? Literal criminals. He admits to it. He hired a fucking criminal. Well, 2 of them, actually. Well, 3 if you count Crypto King. 3 criminals. He had Eddie, the professional con man, who was just a blatant con man. I don't know how anyone on Logan Paul's team could hear this guy's story and think for a second he's real. He claimed to have won the fucking 2018 Super Bowl at the Philadelphia Eagles and claimed to be like a hacker responsible for AOL hacking. And also a CIA operative. And also works closely with billionaires and shit. Like, it takes minutes to deduce that this guy's probably not the real deal. And then, I don't know why he ever teamed up with Jake the Crypto King. That guy is just an actual serial scammer. I hope that he does talk more on Impulsive because, like I said, he didn't tackle specific claims with evidence such as all of the text messages and all of the actual statements from the group meetings that I believe Jake, the Crypto King, provided, where it showcased his, like, the whole team's motives behind the project, as well as market manipulation and then everything falling apart behind the scenes. He doesn't tackle the handmade art assets being just blatantly false and provably wrong. Apparently, I didn't do the research myself, but from all the evidence, seems pretty cut and dry. He didn't tackle the actual specific claims on the project. He's going more big picture with it, but he focused in on some really small ones, I think. Again, this guy being a scammer and also getting scammed by CryptoZoo doesn't really prove a point other than this one guy is a piece of shit who also got scammed by my project. He lost money on it just like everyone else. He shouldn't have been in your video. And that's fair. Definitely not a good spokesperson giving testimonials if he's also not a good person. But it also doesn't discredit all of the true victims that are there. But he doesn't prove his innocence here either. This is still a project that should have no backers. He hired 3 fucking criminals to run it with him. There's no amount of background checking, there's no communication, everyone did lose money on it. There is no reason that this should continue to exist. What he should do is apologize to everyone that lost money and just fucking refund their investments. Just eat shit on it and move on, if you want to continue to try and have a good reputation. Even if it wasn't designed to be a scam, which, again, all of those group chat messages as well as everything provided from Jake, I believe, seems like from the beginning it was designed to just be a money-making exploit. But even if that wasn't the point, everyone did lose money on it. It is still in a non-functional state overall for the majority of your users. Do you think there is anything Logan can actually take legal action on? I don't think so. I don't see how he could, if I'm being honest. I don't really think there was anything necessarily defamatory about CoffeeZilla's video, and I don't think that's what he's going to go for. He's going to go for the unethical I think it is actually illegal to record a private phone call conversation. He's going to go for that angle, talking about an illegally recorded phone call with his manager. So if he is going for something legal, I think that's the angle he'll take because he does have a leg there. But as for defamatory, I don't think so, since it was part of just like an actual open investigation that was publicized. Plus, I don't really think you're going to win as a crypto company that actually did have tons and tons and tons of victims that lost money on it. Not in Texas. It's not illegal in Texas. Is that right? I didn't know that. CoffeeZilla's in Texas. Well, yeah, that's why that would be relevant to this. No, it's probably not about winning. It's probably just about strong-arming because Logan has significantly more money to hire a legal team and bully for a long, long time. You're definitely biased, though? I would have been super open to Logan Paul somehow figuring out, like, how to prove all of that wrong. It's just the evidence was, like, pretty tight. It wasn't just, like, circumstantial nonsense. It was, like, very thorough investigation, man. That's not bias. That's looking at evidence and seeing, this is, you know, not a lot of wiggle room, but I'm open to hearing. And I heard a couple of decent points. Granted, I don't think they're that strong overall, like, CoffeeZilla omitted that one of my core developers is actually a criminal. Like, okay, he didn't say that. You are right. CoffeeZilla probably knew this guy was a criminal and didn't bother mentioning it. Though I don't think mentioning it makes you look better. In fact, I think it really makes you look worse. You hired him. You did no amount of information gathering or background checking. But you're right. CoffeeZilla didn't mention that. That was omitted. Or CoffeeZilla not doing his research enough on this guy being a scammer. Fair enough. That is correct. He is not someone that should have been in the testimonials as one of the victims, though, even though he probably did lose money on it. It's a scammer who got scammed. It doesn't discount the rest of the people who gave testimonials that did lose money, but you focused on one who is a bad person, apparently. That's fair enough. Yeah, CoffeeZilla probably shouldn't have had him in the testimonials. And then the egg hatching thing. I believe there was evidence about the egg hatching not being functional fully when the game launched. And I think in CoffeeZilla's video, he did say, like, they did eventually try and get that working, but it's still not in a fully functional state. But those are, like, the only points. And then this call being illegally recorded, which apparently is not illegal in Texas. And then he confirms what CoffeeZilla confirmed about Jake stealing, Eddie stealing, and Jeff and Logan never selling. He confirmed that. So CoffeeZilla was right. I think that was it, right? There wasn't anything else. Yeah. And then it was just about him, like, saying, we're working our ass off, it's gonna come out, it's not a scam, without providing any information on what exactly they're gonna do differently. You're gonna hire more criminals? It's just scammers scamming scammers. Yeah. That's exactly what it was internally. Again, another thing he didn't address was all of the group chats that are now public. He didn't deny them either, he just legitimately didn't even bother talking about it. Or any of their internal memos about market manipulation. It's enough for his fans who didn't watch the coffee video, though. Yeah, it is going to be enough for the fans, and it's going to be enough for the CryptoZoo backers who are still holding on to that, like, false hope, but... Here, just going through Twitter takes real quick. This seems kind of representative of most of the hive mind on it, so I'm just going to read it. Though this is just one person's opinion, kind of echoed in different ways. Logan and his team need to be held accountable for picking horrible partners, but to say he scammed when he didn't sell is insane. Just because he didn't sell doesn't mean that it wasn't a scam. Tons and tons of people lost money, and his internal partners did sell, making millions. Who's to say Logan Paul wouldn't have sold if it kept going? Plus, all of the group chat that is now public seems to have confirmed that this whole thing was just all about making as much money as possible and as quickly as possible on a bad idea. Still a scam. Just because it doesn't sell doesn't mean it's not a scam. You 100% was going to sell if it didn't happen. Yeah, but that's just speculation. I don't know. I don't know if he would have sold. I will say the reason, one thing that definitely contributed to not selling is after Jake sold and made $6 million, the price right in the shitter. So obviously he wasn't going to sell too. And then Eddie sold $1.7 million and then deeper into the shitter. So clearly he wasn't going to be selling regardless. I don't know if his intention was to sell, but it seems like the intention with the project, based on all of the group chats, was to make as much money off the audience as he could for the whole team. Didn't he make money from the egg sales? That I still don't really know. Even in CoffeeZilla, I was scratching my head because I don't know. I don't think you can say for sure whether or not he himself pocketed money off of the egg sales. That, I think, is still just kind of tough to say for certain. Watch the CoffeeZilla video now. It's a lot different with this context. What the fuck? He didn't context? What are you talking about? I guess in this one part where this guy giving his testimonial is untrustworthy, but other than that, it doesn't change the lens. The evidence is still there. He didn't tackle any of the evidence other than saying that one of them was unethically and illegally gathered through that recorded phone call. And that's really about it. Or that Z that he was talking to was actually a criminal that Logan hired. Like, it doesn't change the lens. How the fuck is Logan still sticking with Jeff? That I don't know. Jeff just sounds like an actually observable stupid man. Like an actual stupid idiot. I don't know why he keeps Jeff around. I don't. I really don't. I actually think Logan had no idea who was being hired. It was all Jeff, but Logan's gonna still take the fall for it because he just let Jeff run rampant like a dog off the leash. Hired 2 criminals, and then those criminals hired a criminal. So then eventually they hired all 3 fucking criminals. Like, I don't know why he keeps him around. He didn't say how it was a scam. I actually think a lot of children have too much easy access to the internet. What do you mean, explain how it was a scam? Like, what do you mean? The method of scamming was gathering as much money from people, talking about how fun this game is and how you can play to earn money on this game. And then the game comes out. The game isn't in a functional state for a while. Maybe it is now, perhaps. Logan seems to insinuate that it is functional. But regardless, it is worth nothing, meaning you did not play for a while. And now when you do play, you don't earn. So you just lose money. However, his team made, in total, $7.7 million off of selling. It's called Pump and Dump. Now, Logan and Jeff didn't sell. That is true. That didn't happen. But just because they didn't sell doesn't mean it wasn't a scam. There is a group chat where they were talking about money-making ways through the crypto space and copying a certain project that was very lucrative, and the entire conversation was always about making money off of Logan's audience. They then even get into market manipulation tactics, talking about what's an acceptable amount to sell on any given day to not influence price too much. It's a scam. That is a scam. I don't know why I needed to break it down into the cliff notes for you. I don't see why that was necessary, but I hope we're all on the same page now. Now, Logan Paul is denying that this was ever the case. So he's not like apologizing to all of the people that lost money or anything. He's saying that with this guy stealing the code, it was a huge setback, and there's just been so much going on behind the scenes, and then Jake tanking it, and then Eddie tanking it. It's just been hard to rebuild, but he's been working super hard to bring it back. But he still is missing the big problem. Nothing was communicated to the buyers. They have been left in the dark for over a year. Logan Paul has made 2 Discord messages in a year. One of them was yo, and the other was I'm sober, shake my head. He made a 3rd Discord message 2 days ago right before posting this video. There's nothing being conveyed to all of those people that lost a ton of money. So even if it's not, even if Logan Paul never thought it was a scam, there were very real victims that lost very real money on this project, all because of him. Do you think Logan will actually follow through with his court thing? Yes. I think 100% Logan Paul will follow through with the court thing. He has significantly more money than CoffeeZilla. He doesn't even need to win in court. He just needs to bully him. And I think that's exactly what he's going to do. 100%. Why do you think Coffee declined Logan's invite to the podcast? Because you got invited right before Christmas. And then again, right before New Year's. Who's going to want to fucking fly to LA for that on his podcast? Of course he's not doing that. CoffeeZilla also reached out saying, hey, let's just do it over a video call. Why did Logan decline a video call, which is significantly easier and more convenient? So he could try and intimidate him. There's plenty of reasons not to go on Logan's podcast to talk about it. I think the obvious one, Logan completely controls what actually makes it into the final cut. Like, there's nothing to be gained there. Why not just do it over a video call on a stream? Literally anything. CoffeeZilla offered just a full video voice call so they can talk about it, which is very convenient for both parties. Logan Paul didn't even mention Dink Doink. Like, yes, I know. We all know Logan Paul has had some very shady shit, but this was focused on CryptoZoo, and he didn't address the evidence-backed, all of the evidence-backed claims from CoffeeZilla. He focused on just a couple of nitpicks, really. And then the broader picture of I didn't sell, and CryptoZoo's not supposed to be a scam, and I'm committed to making it